Now, I've always been curious about that because I actually produced an entire. Remember the days of CD-ROMs, CD-ROM games?
Oh gosh, yes.
Hang on, I got my volume on my. I got to turn my volume down.
Running
So
crazy.
I produced a CD-ROM game. Hi Grace,
Hi. I'm gonna go get a light. I forgot the light.
from scratch. And I used a program called Director, which was made by a company called
Yes.
Macromedia.
I used that before. Yes.
Okay, and I literally went online and learned how to do the entire process of programming Director. I used another program called Infinity, which is a
Oh
3D rendering
gosh.
program.
Memory
That,
lanes for me. Go on.
is that jogging the cobwebs? Um,
For Syracuse College, my early graphic design days. But I didn't interrupt. Apologize.
no, so they used Infinity.
We use Infinity. We use Macromedia. We use Flash. Um, Everything was for multimedia for computer
Right.
wise, and man, the learning curve was such a pain in the ass.
It was very unintuitive, huh?
Yes, very challenging.
Do you remember the
Really
word
was.
tween? Remember the word tween? No?
Yeah, you trying to give me PTSD? No, I'm serious. It's all good though. I mean, I was very fortunate to have an amazing instructor to talk about very patiently how to use it, because at the time the classrooms were about like 6 hours long. I remember correctly.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so I
yeah.
learned how to make this entire interactive CD-ROM, all from AOL chat, 100%. And I went to the Macromedia, chat room or whatever it was, and I just literally like, okay, what do I do? And I'd see maybe some startups on how to start it, and I got all the way from the concept to on the shelf of CD-ROM retailers, all from AOL.
Wow, that's a trick.
Yeah. It nearly killed me. It nearly broke me mentally, and it nearly killed me physically. But I did
Oh
it,
geez.
Yeah, all from AOL. So you were one of those guys that worked for that, and what is that like? Did they pay you to do that?
Okay, so as a chat host, my duties were making sure the chats go well. When it gets your ass, I kick them out. They continue to conduct. It could be up to an hour of not able to log in, and depending on how severe it is, it can be up to a week, a day. Of course, you can always call it in and try to file a dispute saying this is not true, but most of the times they had no chance.
Really?
Did I get paid? I did not. However, I did get free membership
Well,
as the
right.
compensation.
Yeah, and that cost money to be on AOL back then, or yeah.
Yeah, it was like $20 a month, then $40 a month, then $60. It got pretty costly, if I remember correctly.
No,
And
I
I
always
was
kept on the lowest plan.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you did that, Ro.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a good time. I remember one time Britney Spears was actually a guest in the chat rooms. And
AOL was around the same time as Britney Spears.
yes.
How
Crazy,
did you
huh?
know it was Britney Spears, though, for sure, and not just like someone catfishing?
Funny. Because all the background information you had to do behind the scenes by doing telephone calls first, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So at the time when she was a guest, she was so we had like what's it called? Like honestly got like an auditorium chat room that held up to like, I can't remember how many members, like 10,000 members.
Wow.
At a time. And sometimes there's wait time, like a wait list to get join in. And there's a lot of people freaking out and melting down over Britney Spears' first album that came out.
Whoa. What a moment in time.
It's pretty neat. It was definitely good times.
And then we were all coming in on dial-up, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yep. So 2800 BPS, then
2880.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
48.
then it was the next up. I think it was like 12K, then 32K, 52K, dial up.
Yeah. Remember, like, if I wanted to download a picture from AOL, it would like be like. Isn't it crazy?
You know, my cousin had a bird in the same room as the modem. The bird learned how to do that modem sound, and like in the middle of the night, they would say they would hear the modem. They're like, "Who's online?" It's just the bird.
That's rad. That handshake sound.
That's fabulous. Just fabulous.
And then it just switched, right? All of a sudden, then we got, what was it? DSL? That was the next.
Oh yeah, DSL.
That was like
Actually-
a miracle, wasn't it? DSL was like a miracle.
It was actually 256K that was next, then DSL.
What was
I don't think I ever
256K?
went from
What did
that.
that mean?
56 and 512.
I think I went
Just
56
before
to DSL.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Pretty much it was pretty low in DSL. That's what it was.
Hmm.
Then
And
after
then
DSL,
the
Go ahead.
T1 line. Ooh, and T2.
Oh, you were like so wealthy if you had a T1 line. You're like hot shit.
Right now, I think I'm still on DSL. Cable modem.
Cable's a
Wow.
compromise. I have that here, and especially since COVID, everybody's home. So man, my cable got slow.
Yeah, mine do too. It's really slow now, which is why it drops every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, DSL would have
Oh.
been a better thing. I've always had horrible luck with internet companies. Have you guys had good luck with internet companies?
just AOL because I was a host. Good luck with them.
I meant more like service providers, like
Oh,
AT&T or Spectrum, or I feel like they're the mob,
Yeah.
because they know that you can't. They know that this is like as important as water.
Yeah.
So like if I'd have stuff wrong with my internet connection, I'd call them and have them come out or do this or that. It's literally like having a mobster fix your shit. They didn't care if they fix it. They had no accountability. And isn't Talco the mob? Don't you think? You ever thought about that?
I don't know. I know my ex was a cable guy,
Yeah.
and he said it was just horrible. It's like they would schedule you for like 10 jobs in one day, and he's like,
How
was
do you do
awesome.
wow. That's a trip.
I'm sure Talco didn't dig cable, because Talco, that's the phone company. That's Ma Bell. They're the copper wire, like they must have not dug cable. Meaning, how did cable get that installed? Because Talco wanted it to all go over the copper wire.
I don't know. I never
It's mob
thought
shit, dude.
about
No, this is mob
it
shit. Right
much.
here. I know this is a photo chat, but we're talking mob now.
I feel like
Telephone company, that's the mob. I dealt with them a lot, because I used to be a Datacom guy.
Datacom. I don't
And they never, ever admitted that they had a problem on their lines, on their data lines. It was always resolved on its own, every time. That's when I realized, oh, they're the mob. That's why they have 100% up, 100%, they're up 100%, because they never admit it.
Sorry, it's going in and out for me, which is why.
You having a signal problem right now?
Yep.
Hmm.
You know how it goes.
Sorry to hear that.
What was I gonna say?
How's the
But-
coffee?
Oh yeah, I still have an AOL account. Still my primary email.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
I used to have I don't know if my password still works. I tried logging in, but it didn't work. But my email address used to be, I got kicked off. Seriously.
Mine is still the same one. I still use AOL
Can I-
Pinlux. Pinlux at AOL.com.
I'm pretty sure I've seen
Wow.
it before.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure I've seen your profile before.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of. Go ahead.
Oh, and then I got, Hotmail, and then I got Yahoo, and then I got Gmail,
Yeah.
and they're all Pinlux. But I still use Pinlux as my primary.
That's
You
awesome.
currently,
AOL is my primary. Sorry.
if a new, system comes up, do you go and claim all the Pinlux?
Absolutely. And then I was too slow at TikTok. Friggin' just
Oh man.
got it. I was so annoyed.
Is Pinlux, does it have a specific meaning or is
Oh,
it just a name?
it's actually my first name. I just never
Okay.
tried it. I
Okay.
didn't know it was my first name until I was in 4th grade.
So that's like a thing. What's your heritage? You're Filipino?
I'm Thai,
You're Thai, that's right.
so we
So,
don't go by our real names really.
okay, because the Japanese were this, my mom and dad, I always thought my mom's name, well, my mom was a Japanese name, Setsuko, but my dad's name was Thomas. And I didn't learn my dad's name was actually Kenzo until maybe I was 40. I don't know, 30. Who knows?
That's badass. I didn't learn my first name was Pinlux until the first day of 4th grade. They were calling roll and they said Pinlux and went over my head. Then they said Pinlux Supermark and I said, that's my last name, but that's not my first name.
Right.
And then I went home and I told my parents, they're like, no, that's your first name.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
And I asked my parents about theirs and they're like, oh yeah, well, that's our white name.
But I mean, in my culture, you generally don't go by your first name anyway. Everyone has a nickname.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody knows my actual real name in high school and parts of junior high. They still don't know my real name. That's why I have Magic Man as my profile name.
Wait, so when did you start going by Raul? Was it just college?
In college, actually.
So how by James in
Okay, so from first grade, well, pretty much from preschool till 7th grade, I went by Raul.
mhm.
But the reason I dropped the name is because in the first two, pretty much all my life, I've been teased. I have a speech impairment issues. I have problems enunciating the letter R.
Mhm.
And it was time people asked me, can you say your name? And I always got teased like nonstop.
Oh.
I got harassed so many times, and I was like, you know what? And to my parents, can I just change my name to James? Because I'm tired of being harassed pretty much.
Mhm.
So from 7th grade till maybe parts of Cerritos College, I went by James.
Mhm.
And then the name James was dating people because I don't want people to know my actual first name till they get to know me better. If that makes any sense.
Mhm.
But my high school buddies know me as James, but for the most part, 99.9% of them knows me as Magic Man.
Huh.
And in Cypress College, people know me as Raul because we're all adults, and I figured I could have more confidence of sticking with my legal name
Mhm.
without getting harassed of enunciating my name.
Yeah, and by the way, now it's Jimmy Ramone.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful for it too, for a different nickname. I can't complain. I really can't. You have no idea how big my nickname list is. It's
So is Ken your real name? Ken?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've always admired people who could change their name. I used to, a good friend of mine's a drummer, and his brother's a very, very famous drummer as well. Actually, they're all famous. There's 3 of them. And he changed his name from Chuck to Chad. And I thought, God, the balls. I mean, how does one change their name?
Oh, come on, Sting. How do you tell your friends, I want to be known as Sting now?
Yeah.
what?
Right? I've always admired that. I could never comprehend that. And how would I even begin to go about changing my name? Where does one start?
I don't know. Like
Whatever makes you happy.
I know Jimmy Ramone happened because like I think there was a couple students that didn't really know what his name was, so they kept calling him like Jimmy or Ramon instead of Raul. They called him Ramon, and I don't know, it evolved into Jimmy Ramone.
Wow. So like they used other nicknames and then it turned into a third nickname?
Well, it wasn't a nickname. It was like I think, we all called him Raul, and then one of the students couldn't remember his name, so they kept calling him Ramon. So we started calling him Ramon, and then some people knew about James, but they couldn't remember it was James, so they called him Jimmy.
That is Rob Johnson. He started calling you Jimmy.
Yeah, and then so eventually just became Jimmy Ramone.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
So when people start calling Jimmy Ramone, get this. I'm not sure you know this, Grace or Ken. When they start calling, realizing that's my other nickname.
Yeah.
It's like, who is that? Your son's name? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, for like a good
God.
solid month, we were calling him Ramone, just just teasing him.
Mm.
God.
Well,
Yeah,
in high school, one of my teachers didn't know my name, and instead of calling me Grace, she kept calling me Ginger.
Ginger, where did she come up with that? Where did she?
wow.
They're both G's. I don't know. So like, after a while, all my friends just jokingly started calling me Ginger. So I was Ginger for about a year.
At least they remember your name, though. Unlike my friends. Jeez. I'm serious.
That's crazy.
I don't know if I can stop calling you Jimmy Ramone at this point.
You're not allowed to. Just stop. You can just continue. God. Let's see. Should I make a list? How many names is he? This.
Kenzo's cool. Maybe you can just tell people Kenzo's your real name.
Oh, I know. That's such a more cool name, but yeah, I always thought his name was Tom. I still think of him as Tom. He's dead, been dead since 2000. But yeah, blew my mind. I guess I'm just too simple. Like I hear a name, I think that's it. You're just that forever.
Yeah.
It's a good name. It's really solid. It's a good name.
Yeah.
And actually, it's just, I don't know many Kens. You're like one of very few I know.
Well, it's a great name for a Japanese person. Growing up, it's the first day of class, and I grew up in an all-white neighborhood, an all-white school, and they say, "Okay, Ken," and they look at me and they're like, "He doesn't look like a Ken," and they say, and the last name, they're all Hada, and I say, "No, it's Hada." And they're all, "Okay, Hada," and they're all, and Hada, like Hada, Takahashi, Yamaguchi. No, just Hada, and they look at me like, wow, it's like, is that really correct? Could it really be that short? Who knows? I have no idea.
Yeah, the Thai, Laotian, Indian names, those are freaking long.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, my high school buddy has like a 25 or 30 character last name.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Like I have friends that have like 26 letter last names. And that's another thing. Like I remember being in Thailand, I could go for years knowing someone and never knowing their last name because you just don't use it either because it's just
too cumbersome.
It is sometimes. I think there's like an old Thai superstition about how you shouldn't let the spirits know your real name because it can come take you away. So that's why nicknames started. And so
that's cool.
By nickname.
Understand.
But
that's cool.
And now I think I don't know how many people still believe that, but it's still tradition. You have your real name and then your family gives you a nickname and then no one uses your last name because it's like a mile long.
Wow. Hey, Grace, so have you seen that I cut up a lot of the video of you, imparting the wisdom about things such as your darkroom bag or the process of film, of, how to get consistent results from film.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I found something else. Check what I found. Bulk film loader.
Dang.
Closet.
Oh.
See, I don't even remember how to use this anymore.
What's the theory behind that thing? What does it do?
Oh, you just put like film in
a roll of film?
Yeah. And then, you just put a giant roll of film in. I don't even remember how to use this.
Because you can still buy it that way. You can buy like Tri-X that way, right?
Yeah, like it comes in little tins like this. Yeah, here's one.
Okay.
So you just load it in, and I don't know where the little cassettes are, but it's just cheaper to buy it like this. And then you buy the cassettes, and then you just load them and
So you're rolling your own, so to speak.
and it's really good because it's all the same batch.
And obviously, that machine somehow ticks off 24 exposures, 36 exposures, or whatever.
Yeah, I'd have to really look at it again. It has been a really long time that I cannot remember for the life of me remember how to use this.
Because I figured most people just would do that, somehow in a dark bag by hand, or is it always a machine? How do they do that historically to roll their own film?
I don't know because I've always had the machine. Like ever since I think Rager was the one who showed it to me. I'm like, this is amazing. I need to buy one.
That's
And
I
cool.
remember that. I remember Greg Rager mentioning that.
Mhm.
It is a cool little piece of needed.
Yeah, but if you're gonna shoot film instead of buying, I think Freestyle still sells a bulk film loader or something. But
Yes.
you can do it. I mean, you know what? Come to think of it, like you probably can just go in the dark room and then like measure out a certain distance, and
That's
then
what I was thinking.
hand load it because I always hand unloaded it to process.
Right.
I think it
As
was
long as it's dust free and
yeah. I think I just did it this way just because it was less cumbersome. It was fast.
yeah. That's so cool. And did they ever do that with 120 film or?
I never worked with 120 extensively, so
Okay.
I
It doesn't seem like it'd be feasible because you have that paper backing.
mm-hmm. I wonder-
Not impossible, but like just seems.
yeah.
I mean, Rager did things where in class he taught us how to like unroll that stuff and then roll it onto some camera that. Remember that roll?
Yeah, so what Greg Rager did, he used a 620 spool that I had, and he pretty much showed the class how to load 120 on the 620 spool. And it was pretty successful results actually to use 120 film to transfer to a 620.
What the heck
And
is- I don't even know what 620 is.
I think I don't know if I have it. Let's see. Let me go upstairs. I might have it upstairs. Go ahead, continue talking. I'm gonna look.
Grace, that's the great thing about Cypress College. Like I could ask you a thing, and I don't think I ever had anybody like you or Rager or Rob not know the answer.
Yeah, one of us would. I think like
Yeah,
there was just just one of us would, and that's what was so great about it. There were so many people around. Someone would know. We never could figure out why 120 is called 120 though.
isn't it supposed to be the millimeter? But is that not correct?
That it you would think it is, but we measured it and it's not.
Not 120 millimeters. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. Marketing.
We tried. Me, Reger, and Rob tried for like close to a couple weeks trying to research it. Couldn't figure it out.
Huh.
Someone out there knows. Yeah, for me, the only two that I really used a lot was 35 millimeter and then 4x5. And then I only used medium format for like one or two classes when the assignment called for it. And then after that, I switched to digital and I never looked back.
Okay. Right.
Found
I
it?
wonder because there's a dispute over medium format whether it's really that much better than say 35.
So, I mean, bigger film, bigger resolution, but I mean, I was never printing anything that big. So,
Right.
I don't know how big. I think 5 foot by 6 foot was the biggest I did.
Okay, that's pretty big.
So, let me see.
Huh, that's interesting.
Get online, Zoom this way. Give me a minute. I need to find the link again to this chat so I can get on my phone and I'll go show you the print because I don't want to take my laptop out.
Oh, cool.
All right. Yeah, I did find it, by the way.
Oh, you did?
What do you got?
Well, what's interesting is, so this is the 620 spool.
Mhm.
Oh, looks like a 120.
Yeah, it's pretty close actually. The only difference, so this is the 120. It's pretty identical. The only difference is the top is I know it's hard to see, but it's
The
slightly
diameter of the,
the
of
diameter
the,
is slightly
of the
the 120 is slightly larger than the 620
Oh, that's right.
by a millimeter. Well, less than a millimeter, probably. It's like something smaller than that. And
Hugh Grace is on this call.
this is my 120 right here.
All right.
Oh, which camera is this?
This is a Kodak Vigilant 620. This was my grandfather's. Yeah.
That's a
And-
kind of a serious camera for a grandfather, is it not? Or is it kind of a, or was it, was he sort of a serious photographer?
He did like to take photos a lot. He just wish he could have done it more. But at the time in the 1940s and 1950s, film was very expensive for him.
Okay.
But he loved doing photography. I see two different Graces. What's going on?
I know. Let's
Just
see.
going
So
on.
that's the biggest print I ever made from a 35 millimeter.
I remember that.
Wow.
So
Now that, how do you like develop that?
just my hand for reference.
My God.
That's badass.
Let me end this call and I'll go back to the computer and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Leave. There we go.
Okay, I can turn this light off. I don't waste electricity.
Okay. I'm back. So
How do you print, how do you make that print? It's so gigantic. Like, I can't imagine what's the tray that it sat in and
I don't know if in the dark you ever noticed there was a trough underneath.
I didn't see that.
Okay, there's a trough. So you take paper and you just tape it to the wall. And then we had enlargers that you could tip over
Right.
onto the side. And then so you would go into one of the studios, like one that can be really dark. You would tape everything up, like all the doors and stuff like that, tape it onto the wall, tip the enlarger over, project it onto the wall, and then you put it into a dark bag, and then you take it into the dark room and you roll it onto the trough, and you just roll it back and forth
Mm-hmm.
instead of putting it in a tray.
How cool.
That's an epic print. Seriously is. I remember seeing that. Oh man.
Yes.
And you shot that one on 120 or was that just 35 mil?
That was 35 millimeter.
Okay.
God.
I can't even imagine the stink from the fixer when you did that.
Oh yeah, and then your clothes. That's why I was always dressed like a slob at school, because like I used to dress super cute, and then like everything would just get covered in like chemistry, and like there'd be like little brown spots on all the clothes, and so I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna dress like crap. And then like even if you wear aprons, they soak through, and then like
Yeah.
I've had students come up to me and like they have their prints in the tray, and they're like, "What do you think?" And then like it would just splash on you. And I'm like,
If I ever did that to you, Grace, I'm sorry.
I don't even know who did it, and I know they didn't mean it, but still, you know, it was just after a while, I'm like, I'm not dressing nice to come to work anymore.
When you work on back in the day when you used to work around chemicals, did you ever notice like you'd leave the place and then you're clean, maybe you got away clean, you're gonna go out to dinner and you could smell it like
Oh, yeah.
hours later.
It's in your clothes, it's in your hair. I'd have to
Yeah.
shower like as soon as I got home, because like, you know, my ex would tell me, yeah, you smell like fixer. Smell like, you know, and it smells like rotten eggs before we got odorless fixer, because we used to not use odorless fixer.
Oh,
You know what? I should try to get Ron on this Zoom call. I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah. I thought he might know how to rate film. He'd be a great one. I have a friend named Ronnie Mendoza who's still in the photography world, and he always talks about that. So I wanted somebody to explain that to me. I thought that'd be an interesting topic.
How to rate film,
Yeah,
as in like how sensitive it is to light.
right. So you buy film and then it says 400 on the package, but really it's 128 or it's 25 or it's.
That's just zone system. It's just you just take a whole bunch of pictures and you run a whole bunch of tests. You do a control, you take pictures of like a gray card or like something that has a whole bunch of different tones, and you would just
You print them, or how do you see? How do you determine that, like, say, a 400 Tri-X is really, this batch is really a 300 or 100 or?
uh well, we had something that would actually measure it. There was like
Oh,
a thing. How about this? I'm going to leave the call for about 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to
yeah,
Ron and see if I can get him on Zoom,
yeah.
because he can explain it a lot better than I can. Like I kind of know how to do it, but I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, see you in a bit.
Sounds good. That's interesting. I never thought of. I remember hearing that term, rating film, but I don't know anything about it. So this is going to be new to me too. Can't apologize.
Cool, cool.
I mean, I've heard of it one time ago, but I never made a note of it. Never occurred to me because, like, okay, this is a little probably too advanced for me. However, I kind of wish I would take it more seriously, because when I applied for a job for LA City College for a lab tech, they were mentioning the test for exam test. You can be in the top 3%
Okay.
to go to the next level for interview processing. Anyhow, it was talking about that. I had no knowledge of it.
So they did reference it.
Yeah, and the test, and it sounds like there are more film photographers there than at Cypress.
Okay.
I mean, they talk about inverse square law for the 4x5.
Oh, right. Oh, is that you're talking about because of the billows?
Yeah, and some other factors.
Okay.
And thankfully, I did okay on the test, but I was in the top 3%.
Okay.
That test was very, very hard.
Right, right.
And there was about 100 of us taking the test.
I think I remember you talking about that whole process.
It's been a while. It
Right.
doesn't come to a second. Angel Uribe would probably be pretty knowledgeable too. Now I think of it. I know when they were looking for another photo lab tech guy, I know he applied. He did well, but I'm not sure how well he did. I don't think he made it to the cut either for the next step.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant. I still don't even know if I'm even talking about a real thing, but it seemed plausible. I mean, it seemed like, and I've heard people say that before about film. I've heard some of our professors talk in that way, where just because it says it's a number on the box doesn't really mean it's that truly that number. And I thought, why? Why is that? You know, like, obviously there'd be an advantage to knowing what the actual number is.
I would think it would be math probably involved too, because
Okay.
they did ask some math math questions for exposure and inverse square law, like the distance, and the subject matter. Like, you kidding
Yeah,
me?
if it's math, I'm out.
Well, you gotta know math for photo in some way. You gotta know.
On some level, that's true. Right.
I mean, I don't want to talk about it. It's going to be a headache. It's going to give you PTSD.
Well, look, I'll show you a soothing thing. You know, look.
That is a beautiful camera. That lens hood is just. Okay, so what is that? Mamiya or?
This one's the Bronica, the good old, you know, ETRS. Is that what they call it?
It's beautiful.
ETR. Yeah, this one's an ETR. I bought this used off of somebody. The guy worked at some childcare place in downtown Los Angeles, and I think it was his grandfather's or something. Maybe it was his dad's. This is the film back. You know, it's basically a poor man's. What's the expensive one? Hasselblad. Poor man's Hasselblad. 120 millimeter.
Nice.
And this thing came with, you know, these little plastic things, the filters that go in there. So some of the filters had, you know, blue up here and then brown down here. And
it was like a Cocken filter system.
Exactly. And
that's awesome.
so yeah, this thing's been doing good.
It's a beautiful camera.
Yeah, and I have two lenses. I have I want to say this one, since this, I don't know my,
85.
I'm not sure. This one's a 75.
Okay, that's a standard.
Is that a standard?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think you can see it, but that's a
Wow.
75 lens.
Sweet.
I have another lens, which I might have a 50, which is wider, obviously.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to own a Hasselblad one day, just because it's just the whole camera is supposedly is really easy to repair if you have any problems. I'm not sure it's true or not.
That'd be
And just
cool.
expected to be repaired.
That's the thing I've learned about these cameras is that, they break.
Yeah, personally,
Did you see my
This-
Linhof? Have you seen the Linhof?
you showed that. I saw the video like so quick when you
Okay.
did that little blip tease. I'd like to see more.
Show you the Linhof.
Good morning, Joey.
Morning.
How'd the fish go for you, by the way?
My wife saved it.
Hey,
So hold on, I'll be right back.
for sure. All good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Here's the Lin.
Ooh.
Well, really nice field camera. The guy that owned this was a wood guy, and so he made these custom handles.
Wow.
And he put those on
Sweet.
there. It's got the we load the film here, and then this is your ground glass.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's beautiful. That's beauty.
And everything about this camera, like when I do this, the feeling of this door, it feels like it's brand new. This is the front.
Wow.
That's cool.
You have your, focus
Yeah.
rails. You have your parking rails back here.
That's a beauty. It was especially it's like it looks brand new.
What's that?
Yeah.
Looks brand new.
I know. I got this at Fullerton Camera. It came with so many things. Like it came with this thing that you put on the back. And it's like this big tent, and it has an
Yeah.
optical viewer.
Oh, cool.
So you could literally see through the thing without a dark cloth.
Yeah.
That's apparently a cool thing. So
Oh,
I went,
that'll help you out so much more.
right?
Yeah.
And Larry Hack went with me
Mhm.
to look at it, and so I got to get a lens board for it because the lens that it came with, I should have bought it.
Mhm.
It was so wide, you had to focus on the docking rail,
Oh, wow.
and that what it was is that I went to go shoot that picture of Stamos.
Hmm.
I wanted to use this, and I literally bought it the day before. So I kind of panicked, and I should have took that thing. So instead, I got a Schneider lens, a little 90 millimeter, which is more versatile. And with that Schneider, I can also focus on the focusing rails.
Yeah.
So,
That is a beauty.
but everything about this camera, it feels brand new. Like every movement, like it's just like it doesn't, like I don't know if you've ever seen the way these things, the movements are, but you can wiggle around the back. Oops. That's how you tilt and shift it. Is the
Oh, cool.
back? It's got this.
Oh, like bars.
Nice.
Right.
Badass camera.
I never shot it. I don't even know if it works, but let's see.
So I'm on the phone with Ron right now, and he's setting up Zoom, so he's gonna join us.
Oh, cool. That'd be so fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hey. Very cool.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna mute myself right now while I'm talking to Ron, and I'll come back in a bit.
Sounds good.
well, Ken,
Oh, this film.
I also have good news.
What is it?
New news is. Doo-doo.
Oh,
Sweet.
what is this? What am I looking at?
This is it's like a Sears catalog film, camera. It just says TLS, so I don't know what that stands for. So, but I have 200 Kodak Gold in it right now. So
Nice.
and I have a 28 millimeter lens, a 80 to 200 millimeter lens, 50 and I think 85.
Wow,
So
That's rad, dude.
I don't know how good the film's going to be because I don't know if you saw my video.
No, is it old or what is it?
Yeah. So the story goes is that they bought this at Sears back in the 80s or 70s, and then they put it into they just left it in the garage for a couple of years, and then they were cleaning out the garage like, hey, do you want this? If not, we're just gonna put it into Goodwill. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. It works phenomenal.
So a free camera.
Yeah, essentially free camera, and my Pentax camera is kind of going, and so I mean it's kind of. But the downside is that it's threaded lenses,
Okay.
so that's the downside on this one. And I was trying to see if they fit on my lens board, and they don't.
Okay.
So I have something to share with you guys. I was cleaning like about 2 days ago. I found this green bag.
Ooh.
And what's in here is, you guys gonna probably be like surprised what's in here. Here, I'm gonna dump it for you guys. This is the first time revealing what I have in here.
Oh, look at
Film.
it.
Man.
I have a Pro 400 Fuji color.
Ooh, I'll take that.
TMX. I
T-Mac,
have, is it Ektachrome?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's gonna be fun.
Arcos,
Yes.
more Arcos, Neopan, black and white.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
I see
120.
some black and white Kodak in there. What's that purple box?
This one?
The purple one next to the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
Portrait?
okay.
Yeah,
never
no,
mind.
that stuff's good.
That's
That's
Yeah.
gorgeous color.
Some mystery film.
I
Yeah,
bet you
that's
the
what it-
mystery film is no fun.
I'll take all your mystery film.
This, I think, is exposed. I think that's,
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
shot that.
that's exposed.
but yeah, I thought you guys might get a kick. I have another bag
Tell us
too
about the
somewhere.
origin of that bag. What is the origin of that bag?
Wait, this one?
No, the bag. Is that your bag, or was somebody gave you that bag, or how'd you?
It's been so long. I mean, it has some exposed film in here. I'm sure this bag was given to me at some point. Fuji Chrome. I think that's 120.
I've never even seen that.
Yeah, so I do have another bag somewhere, but I'm not sure where it's at. It should have been with this bag, but it's not. I thought you guys might get a kick out of that.
That's killer.
That's
Well,
awesome.
let me ask the question, because I get gifted film all the time,
Use it.
And then and I've shot it before, and it just normally comes out like a gray, murky mess. Is that to be expected?
Yeah, so that might be due to heat damage.
Okay.
They left
Okay.
it somewhere and it just got hot, and it's due to heat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way that, I should shoot old film, really old expired film? Is there should you shoot it too bright or not bright enough, or could you wash it differently if you're developing it yourself?
No, because like you don't know how long it's been in the heat, so it's kind of it's gonna just be like considered art, essentially.
So it's sort of a surprise, like a
Yeah,
happy
it's almost like
accident.
like shooting Holga film. Like put a Holga camera into a film canister, you're gonna get surprises. You don't know what you're going to get.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
True.
Okay. That makes sense.
yeah.
What I put that-
So
Oh.
just for fun stuff, artsy
Yeah.
stuff, not
Yeah.
anything that you're trying to actually have any consistency at.
Yeah, don't use old film for consistency. You're not gonna get it.
This is true.
Okay. That makes sense.
If you want consistency, buy a brick of film, and that way you know that brick of film is yours, and you put it at its temperature place.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Like with I know that Angel was trying to do a project similar to film. He was trying to get a heat source on it. So he's leaving in the car. He was leaving in very hot, sun-spotted areas just to cook the film.
Hmm.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
And he wanted to. He
wanted
desired
to-
that effect.
Yeah.
I find all kinds of stuff in the last few days. I'm
Yeah,
trying to look.
Sadly, my dad got laid off from his job, and so
Oh, gee.
I had to tear down my dark room.
Oh, I remember you
I'm very
talking
sorry to hear
about
that.
you were
Yeah.
worried about that happening.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Joey.
So I'm gonna go there sometime today and start packing up everything.
I'm sorry to hear that, Joey. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's messed up.
Yeah. There goes my dark room.
Well, I guess you'll have to build another one in the
Yep.
future.
I know you've been wanting to build a dark room, so I have a beautiful enlarger that has its own filter source inside, so you don't have to buy it.
I'm still withholding. I'm still withstanding that because right now I'm trying to convert the garage into a better place for two things. One, I have my drum set in there, and so I want to rebuild my recording studio,
Mhm.
which I have everything for. Microphones and recording systems. So I have to clear a bunch of crap out of there and do that. Old skateboards. And then I want to have a secondary place in there for study. My garage is separate from my house, so I
Okay.
thought it might be nice to go to this place to do online classes for my children,
Yeah.
so that they can not be distracted by whatever's in their bedrooms or whatever's in the house.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So sadly, darkroom is, and believe me, very sadly, darkroom is way lower on my list right now. But if I had all the money in the world, I'd have somebody in there putting plumbing in as we're speaking.
You don't need plumbing. You need that stuff. You just need like
Buckets?
buckets. Yeah, you're good.
No, that makes sense. That all makes sense.
I don't
even
have
tempt
plumbing
me.
in my dark
Don't
room.
even tempt me.
Not even attached to my house. It's just there's a what's it called? A counter inside, and then I just attach pieces of wood towards it and cloth, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, for me, it'll be down the line. Like the first thing I'm gonna do is I gotta hire a guy to take a bunch of. I got this old recording gear. It's so heavy, and so I'm gonna hire a guy to take that out and have it, disposed at some kind of a high tech toxic waste disposal thing. Because they're all recording councils and
Yeah.
tape machines, and I've got this big, gigantic rack that came. It looks like it came from. I think it has a studio's name on it, so it might have came from
That's cool.
some old studio.
Here comes Ken, gonna know more famous people.
No, but
Yeah.
it's just really old. I bought it off the recycler, or yeah, I think I bought it off the recycler. This is like pre-internet,
Hmm.
and it's just way too big. It's way too heavy. I can't even pick it up. It's so heavy. It's
Okay.
all metal.
Well, can you help like this like taking it apart and moving it, I'll give you a help.
Yeah, well, thanks. I'm gonna actually hire a guy. I know a guy that'll do it, and he'll have like 3 guys come in. They got truck sport, and then they got
Okay.
it costs a fortune to throw stuff away,
Yeah. You can
especially high tech stuff, because you can't just
make
dump
more
it.
money selling things than you do just giving it away.
But people don't want this stuff. This stuff, like my tape machine,
Mhm.
I have 2 12-track tape machines, and they're the same ones that U2 made a record on. Not the actual machine, but the same model.
You know U2.
No.
Yeah.
And then Britney Spears. No, not Britney Spears. Who is it? She wrote a song called "Only in My Dreams."
Okay.
Her name's escaped me, but anyways, her father, I believe, used one of these machines to record that. Debbie Gibson. It's way before your guys' time. So yeah, and I have these 2 machines, and they don't really work very well, and they cost a fortune to fix. Only one guy I know of in California can even fix it. He's in Pasadena, and the only reason he can fix it is because he was one of the guys that helped design the machine.
Oh wow.
But he can't even find parts for it anymore, because
Yeah.
the company that makes this machine is Akai.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 12-track tape recording machine, So I'm like just trying to throw them away. I can't even throw them away. They cost me like thousands of dollars, and hundreds of dollars a year to maintain, just like analog cameras.
Yeah.
But so I got to get rid of them, just so I can, build my studio back up.
Yeah.
So the gigantic, huge things, they weigh so much that they weigh down a little mini truck. They probably make those springs on the thing.
And here
And
comes
in
Ken.
the studio now, it's just this little tiny Mac laptop with a little tiny machine that you can plug all your microphones in.
Yeah.
The studio became this tiny little thing.
Yeah.
A recording studio.
I used to go to church, and we had I think a 12 soundboard, 12 plug-in soundboard.
12 channel.
Yeah, 12 channel. And then they got like a 36 channel. And we're not big enough for that. We just need that 12 was perfect. It's no, we need a new one. So we bought this brand new, complete new set. And I'm just this is overkill. We don't need any of this. We use 5 of those channels.
Churches are where all the high-end sound went. Like if you go to church,
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
If you go to a really big church,
yeah,
the drummer
soundboard. It's pretty crazy.
And the musicians, they'll hire musicians who might have been on all these recordings, like big recordings.
Yeah.
And they're all working in church now. That's where a lot of the live music went.
The great thing about the one I go to is that it's all volunteer. So they don't pay anybody. It's hey, if you want to volunteer to go on stage, go on stage. We're looking for a new guitarist, or we're looking for a new singer. We're looking for new leaders and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's all. It's all volunteered at ours.
That's cool. Right. Yeah. My next door neighbor, his name is Moses, and he's a minister, and he's a guitar player, and he's a musical minister.
Cool.
His wife sings, and he plays guitar and all kinds of other instruments. And
you can record for them?
Well, he's been trying to get me to go play at the church, and then I know other people that work at church for music who have made $30,000 a year just to record one song. And I know other ones that work at church where they literally have made their whole living for their whole lives from doing just the lights at church.
Yeah.
Bought a house, put kids through school, everything. So churches are so vastly different in their size.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What happened to Grace?
She's getting Ron on the Zoom. It'd be cool.
Yeah, to hear his insight. It'd be very cool to hear.
Ron Miller is the Cypress College soccer.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a crazy looking military chopper going by.
You see?
I can't really zoom in because it's behind the trees,
Okay.
but it's
Is it two?
uh,
Is it two? Like
it's one.
it's one?
It's one, and it's like a plane with
Here's
propellers
another
on it.
artifact sitting on my desk.
Oh, I love it.
I have one of those.
I don't. I
Aw.
just
Yeah.
bracket. I bracket my film.
That's cool.
I did find a couple cool stuff though. When let's see, I could get it. I
I
found
like
a
the luxury
film.
of having a light meter. Just so easy.
Yeah, I learned how to bracket my film because my camera had a broken light meter,
Ooh,
and
that's
so
right.
it taught me how to be better judgment on like the day.
So
Absolutely. That would force you to
Oh yeah,
get good at that.
I was going through my stuff. So I found my Lomography film scanner device.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, I have
digitalized.
one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I found my Polaroid bag for my Mamiya.
nice.
Oh, I have one of those for my Bronica.
And of course, in the Earth and Earthimer, I found my Rolly.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'm pretty. Yeah, I'm surprised
Holy,
I found
that's a
some.
120?
Yes. This
No,
one
the
is,
thing about those is if you put in 35 millimeter film,
I want.
it's really fun because the film that's part of the bracket gets exposed as well.
That's neat.
And so
That's
it's
neat.
the whole
Right
film.
on the holes.
Yeah, the whole film, the entire film is now a negative.
That's really neat.
I, just
I
remembered
have this, filter on my let me see, let me try to get this off. On my camera, What do you do when you have one of these and then you're shooting with one of these? It's a red so what do you change on here to compensate for this red filter?
I think it's
On two
three
stops?
steps, 3 stops.
3 stops, okay.
Yeah, I think it's 3. I'm not too sure.
I always just take the thing off and I put it over the dome.
Do that too. That works.
Yeah.
Is Grace here now?
Grace is kind of here. So Ron's having a little bit of technical difficulty. I'm going over to his place later, so I'll set it up so next time he can join in on Zoom meetings.
Oh, cool.
Hooray!
But
We could do if he's available. Looks like Grace froze.
Yep, Grace did freeze.
I don't know if you can hear me, Grace, but we can run the Zoom with the telephone number too. So you can just call a number and then just.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that helps sometimes. Apparently, people in Grace's neighborhood are hitting the Call of Duty pretty hard. The cable modems may be being taxed. Happens in my house and neighborhood as well.
Oh, not mine yet.
Are you on cable or DSL?
I have Frontier.
Frontier. I've heard of that. I've never used that one.
Yeah. We pay like $50 a month for it.
Yeah,
But we're only doing internet and like high speed internet.
right.
I'm not doing cable or any of that stuff.
You don't need that stuff.
No. We're not home enough to watch it.
And the internet gives you so much. You could
Yeah.
add a little money and get a little Netflix, or you get a little Hulu.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can get like HBO just through your internet.
So we had HBO for a while, but my mom got rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like there's nothing good on there.
No, my grandmother stopped paying for it, so
Yeah.
But like we were watching it till the end of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep going away.
It's all right.
It's cool.
Don't let it happen again.
Stupid internet. So how are you? You were saying phone number? We can send him a phone number.
Yeah, like right now we could just hang this up and I'll send a new Zoom out and it'll be capable of receiving, like, you know, there's an 800 number. He just call it with his cell phone and there he is with us.
Huh? Would it still be video or would it be audio?
No, no video, just his voice.
Okay.
He could hear us all and we could hear him, you know.
Well, how about we just? I'll set him up later when I go see him,
Okay.
and then we'll do it next time. But I can give you a little bit of testing.
Yeah,
you're gonna
okay.
just-
Yeah, so tell us about that.
So what you're gonna need is it's gonna be specific to your camera, and specific to that film, and specific to the chemistry that you're using to process. So
Right.
what you're gonna do is set up a target to shoot of a known value, like a gray card and like a color swatch or something like that.
Okay.
So let me see if I can get something somewhere around here.
Remember what we did in Rager's class?
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much what she's explaining.
when we made negatives.
Where you get like you bracket and then you cut your film into 3 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
And
you
then-
look at the negatives. Is that what we did, or how do we do that, Joey?
You take. I mean, I shot it with 4x5, so my process was very different from yours.
Okay.
But for the 4x5, I bracketed 9 shots, and then 3 of those I develop it. Let's say 10 minutes and 30 seconds. The other one I did 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and the other one I did 11 minutes and 30 seconds or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So you're developing it at 3 different times.
Yeah.
See if you can get these books. Let me see.
So
Looking for what, Joey? When you do that, what are you
you're looking for the contrast of the photo of your you're looking for the contrast of the chemistry and the contrast of the negative at the same time, like how well you agitate it. And then from there, I have something, but I don't know where it's at.
No,
I have
it's
the
not
cheat
right.
sheet. And then you get to see where your film and your chemistry works well together. So it could be like, for me, it was image number, I think 6 and 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, for my process, was I added more time for my developing.
Okay. That's
You
what
know,
you
can-
needed to do to get it into the range that you wanted.
Yeah,
You say
Can
you're
it
looking for a contrast.
there you go.
Oh yeah, there's the books. What
Hello,
what
experts.
are you looking for in the contrast, Joey?
Just like a good negative so I can print it.
What does a good negative look like?
Really, what you're trying to do is match what you shot.
Okay.
So,
Right.
like, you would have a gray card in there, and then you would have something like this. And so it has all the different shades
Yeah.
of gray on there. And what you're going to look after you shoot and you bracket and you process is whatever is going to match this as much as possible.
Whatever length of
Mhm.
Yeah.
processing. I got
Mhm.
you. And that's what it really is. That's what that film. That's its sort of default.
Yes. And I'd say most of the time it's actually, you're supposed to rate it lower than it actually is. And
That's what I've heard.
it's just the way it works out.
Right. Sometimes a lot lower.
Yeah. And if you can get your shutter speed tested, test your shutter speed, see if it's actually correct,
Right.
because that's going to make a difference too.
Yeah.
And then if you change chemistry, you're going to have to change you have to retest all over again. If you change cameras, you have to retest all over again.
Right. And like Joey was saying, even the way you agitate is going to affect that test.
Yeah. So it's very specific to the person. So you need to get your agitation consistent.
Consistent.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool.
don't know.
As if analog photography wasn't cumbersome already. Now another reason.
Because my camera shot 150th. I got tested it. It was 150th at 1 second at 100.
If your shutter's off and you do this test and you find you match that gray card, then you're kind of in ground zero again, aren't you? In a way,
No, because then it's specific to your camera. That's
Right.
why you have to retest every time you shoot another camera.
that makes sense.
Or you just call it art and you don't really care about it.
Yeah, happy accidents, right?
Yes, happy accident.
I like that.
You can never
So,
repeat it ever again.
If you do test, I would suggest getting something bigger than this because this is still kind of small.
Right.
And Cypress College, since you're still taking classes there, Ken,
Yeah.
we have a densitometer there, and then we measure the density of, like, say, the gray in the film or something like that, and then you would know, like, if it's overexposed or underexposed or something like that. But I don't know if the densitometer is still there. I
Right.
remember, hang on, let me clean my lens. When Julie was there, she was on a throwing shit out spree, so
Yeah.
the
Jeez.
densitometer looks really old, but it still worked perfectly. So I don't know if she recognized what that is and kept it, or she tossed it. And then, like, even after Julie left and I left, there's a new instructor and a new lab tech, and both of them didn't have anyone to tell them what stuff was. So
Right.
I don't know if they continue throwing stuff out.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
know
we
the
have
new
really
lab
good
tech.
densitometer.
He seemed pretty versed in all that stuff. I
Yeah,
think,
he's a great
think
guy.
I think he would know what a densitometer is.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'd have in that school, if they would still want it or think that it would be something that they would use.
I don't know. Like, Julie switched over to, like, pretty much film for
Everything was film.
one.
Yeah.
So she recognized what it was.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Grace is popping in and out on us.
Yeah.
You see, it's the internet connection. It's like the mob, you have to have it. And then if Grace were to go to whoever her internet service provider is and say, oh, I'm kind of popping in and out on the Zooms, and can you fix this? Oh yeah, just what do you have? The $80 one? Well, you need the 120.
Yeah.
If you get the 120 one, you could have 6 people streaming in your house, and
Yeah.
it's not true. You pay the 120, and it's just exactly like this.
It's funny. My friend's a tech, like a nerdy techie guy. Like, he loves computers and everything. And he doesn't believe in the Wi-Fi towers like that. He goes, no, just give me the tower and that's it. I'm like, I can get the internet. Just give me the tower. I was like, well, no, you need the internet for the tower, for the wireless tower. I was like, no, you don't. He's like, yes, you do. I was like, no. He goes, I'll call I'll call your boss. He goes, no. Okay. I'll just give you my wireless, because I guess there's a law in place where, like, you can just get the tower and stuff like that. It's just the company's policy to sell you all that stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm like, why didn't you tell me that beforehand? I bought the Frontier. He's like, he didn't call.
You've been riding your bike?
No, I haven't been riding my bike. We've been training more so with cardio and exercising. We have been, because our next race is probably in 2 weeks from now. So we have 8 miles to run and 25 exercises.
How's that going?
Good. We're still only doing 3 miles, but I've been trying to tell my wife and people, like, hey, we need to run more. We need to get more and more and more. But with people are just like, we're talking too much. So I think this next time we're gonna try to just, like, get at least 4 miles and like stop talking so much, and, like, okay, here's the exercise we're doing. And
Talking's good.
Yeah.
But I guess exercise is better for that, for what you're doing there.
Yeah. What we're trying to do, what me and my wife are trying to do, we're trying to get. Hey, Ron. Trying to
Um,
do at least 31 miles. So by the end of the year, so we need to like pretty much shut up and keep going.
That's a good idea. So we got to get Ron to.
Unmute
Um,
himself.
No, he's not even. His audio is not connected, so he's got to give permission.
Oh.
His computer permission to have audio work with this app. I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me call him.
Yeah, give him a call. Oh yeah, he's getting it all together. He's grabbing the mic.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's me calling him. How you have to allow you have to give your computer permission to connect to audio too. Oh. Oh gosh, I think you do it right when you open it, so I don't give me a second.
I think you can hit the mute button and it'll allow you to do it.
I don't know. Is there on the bottom left of the screen, do you see a mute button? Maybe it's an unmute. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Hang on, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone so they can hear you. So I'm doing it a janky way. Ron's on my phone so you can hear him.
Oh, workaround.
Yeah.
But
Can you hear Ron?
Can't hear him yet.
Okay.
this is what we get in the mail.
Can you hear us, Ron?
That's your metal, Joey?
I'm gonna plug in some headsets,
Okay.
but I can only hear you from the phone.
Okay.
And then
The headset might help because it might trigger his thing to like reconnect the audio.
Wait, what was that, Ken? What did you say?
The headset might help to get him
Mhm.
his audio to turn on, because probably what happens when he joined the meeting,
Mhm.
it asked him to allow the computer to allow audio to work, and then the thing is, all these virus programs, they think, well, we're not going to relinquish control.
Yeah.
It's possible that it's something like that, but it'll work.
Okay.
We got him on video. We know that unless he doesn't have an audio card, he should be
should.
fine.
Are
Yeah.
you on your laptop or are you on your you're on your laptop? Maybe try leaving the meeting, and then when you come back in, it'll ask you to allow to connect with audio. Just click yes that time.
That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah. So just leave and come back.
If I take him out, then he won't be able to get back in, so he has to do it himself.
Yeah.
That's the
So
quick-
So I'll just redo it.
yeah. So on the bottom right, there's a button that says leave.
Join audio.
Oh. You found something that said
Audio.
audio?
And then
I think the easiest
Okay.
way, Ron, is for you to leave the meeting and just rejoin. And then when it prompts you to connect with audio, say yes.
okay.
Okay. But if Ken kicks you out, you can't get back in. So you have to leave on your own.
Okay.
So that's the bottom left, little red button. Bottom right.
Leave me.
Bottom. Yeah. Okay. See you soon.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to hang up here too.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
That's so cool that he made it on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That first time around signing into Zoom is always
I
fun.
know, I know. I actually did a talk with all these famous skateboarders from the 70s,
Of course you did.
and uh, and there's one guy who was really important to the conversation. These were downhill skaters, were the kind of guys that they do the slalom and they go
Oh, that's
straight.
cool.
So super old version of skating.
Mhm.
And I was trying to get this one guy on, and he was really important to the conversation. And I swear it took like an hour and a half. And he was really intelligent. He had a really good computer and all that stuff. But just, Zoom is not real intuitive.
Oh,
It took me 2 hours to get Rob set up for Zoom, like before the meeting started last time. I was on the phone and it was just like, okay, do this. Screen share.
The problem is everybody's, computers are so diverse. There's even a few computers that just can't do it if they're really, really old.
yeah.
Windows 7,
Yeah.
it won't even work. Same with the Macs, really old Macs. They won't even allow it.
Oh. Well, I'm glad Ron's did because he has an older laptop. He said he
Cool.
hasn't touched his laptop in a long time. He only with his iPad these days.
Well, you can totally Zoom from an iPad or an iPhone or any smartphone.
He originally tried to download the app onto his iPad, but I guess it didn't work. And we'll try to set it up when I meet it with him today.
Cool. The bummer about an iPad or a phone is on a big Zoom, you can't see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Orange
I was
juice.
eating earlier.
I wonder where Ron is. I'm surprised he hasn't come back in yet.
Oh, he'll get it. He's a photo guy,
Yeah.
video dude. He used to record all the videos for the Kennedy football games.
Still does, I think. Well,
Oh, okay.
now that they're not playing, but yeah, he was.
That's cool. He's a gadget guy. There he is.
Kitty.
Woohoo.
Come here. Cat.
And then you have to start your video, Ron.
Yay!
Yay! Connected to
Audio.
Yay! See,
his name.
I know I hear you, and but I don't see me yet. Or do I have to click on
You have to allow the video to happen.
my video?
Yes.
Bottom left.
Yeah. Well,
Hey.
Hey.
see, there still is hope for geezers like me.
Jeez.
Hi, Ron.
Hello, good to see you and hear you.
Good to see you too.
Morning,
We're
morning.
talking about your Kennedy. I went to Kennedy, and I know that you videotaped their football games.
Yes, the last 26 seasons.
Oh, that's all.
I only missed one game during that time.
Wow.
But and then I was going to hang it up at the end of last season because the coach of the last 2 years was a walk-on coach, had no connection with Kennedy whatsoever. None of the coaches in there had anything to do with Kennedy. So there was no Irish tradition. There was nothing, and he didn't communicate for squat.
Oh.
And I was just tired, and so I was going to hang it up. Well, anyway, at the end of last season, either they didn't continue or extend the guy's contract, or maybe the guy opted out. I have no idea. And the new head coach was he was the quarterback 2005 season.
Wow.
And after he graduated, and while he was getting his degree or degrees, he was back there as a coach. Now he teaches on campus, and a few of the other coaches have coached and teach on campus. A couple of them, my sons played with either them or their brothers, and so it was, it's kind of like, okay. And then they'd reached out to me and they said, we heard the possibility that you were going to hang it up. Can you come back and videotape at least one, maybe 2 seasons while the new group gets established? And I said, yes, of course. And now I don't know if they're going to have a season or not,
Sure. Yeah.
because all of Orange County shut down the conditioning for a while. So, you know, I don't really want to be required to wear a mask while I walk in and climb up on top of the press box, but I'll do what I got to do.
Mhm.
But, you know, we'll see.
Yeah. Did they? I went to Kennedy, you know, and I'm wondering if where do they store all those videotapes or digital files? And
Well, okay, was Young Lee the equipment manager for the PE stuff when you were there?
no, I graduated in '82, so I had Hang Gardner was a football
Okay,
coach.
okay, yeah. So you were there before Olson came on board, or maybe he was an assistant coach with Hangartner.
That could have been, yeah, that could
Yeah.
have been.
But anyway, yeah, it was back in the 80s. They may have still been covering the games with either 16 millimeter or high or 8 millimeter film. You know, motion.
Really? Wow.
They may have at that time, or it had been going. Maybe also it could have been VHS. I know when I started, it was VHS, and I think only the first year, and then I had just retired from the Navy Reserve, and I did video production there. And one of the cameras we used was a Sony Hi8 camera.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. And the quality, both video and audio, was really good.
Yeah, Hyatt was real nice.
Yeah. And so that's what I bought. And I started doing some of that. The first year or two, it was on the sidelines covering everything. But I would put together, you know, a highlight tape for the banquet at the end of the season.
Right.
And then Mitch Olson was the head coach in the beginning that I was affiliated there.
Okay.
And he really liked the stuff, and he's going, hey, do you want to be our official camera guy? And at that time, the camera I had from up on top of the press box, I didn't have a long enough lens to really, you know, they'd be so tiny.
Yeah.
And it was then the next season I switched and got a better, it was still a Hi8, but it was a better one that I had a much better zoom on it. And it maintained good quality as I'm zooming out to be able to see into the end zone properly.
Okay.
But and then I went to the digital cassettes, digital tape. And then I would master everything on DVDs, and then I progressed to actual digital video cameras, and and then I've gone back, and almost all of the highlight tapes I've converted them to digital, and then on a DVD. Not all of the games, some of the games, but not all of the games.
That's a lot of content. Yeah.
Yeah.
26 years.
The what?
26 years of content.
Yeah.
Oh, Ron, can you see all of us at the same time?
Yeah, over on the side, I see I'm on the top, and then it's Ken, and then it's hi Raul.
Ah, yeah.
And then it's Joey. Hi, Joey. And then it's Gracie down on the bottom.
You can also go into the top right of your screen, and then it should toggle between like gallery view or speaker view.
Yeah, it says gallery view or exit full screen. So
try gallery view. That might be less. It might be a little easier on your eyes.
Yeah, since I'm so old and all that. Yeah, but about 4 years ago, I went and had the LASIK eye surgery.
Oh.
So it is unbelievable. Expensive because insurance didn't cover it, but it was so worth it for me because I was extremely nearsighted. But I'm gonna.
I was about to get that.
Yeah, I went down to, okay. Ooh, now I see everybody instead of one really big.
Ooh.
Hi, everybody. This is Trick. Grace, I'm glad you called me because I wasn't sure how to do this stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you decided to just figure it out.
Yeah, now you're back, Jimmy Ramone. You were hiding for a minute.
Yeah, that's squinting. I can't stare at the screen too long.
Okay.
So the reason we wanted to have you on is because Ken wanted to know how to rate film.
I don't remember. We should have Rager on this thing.
I'd love that.
Yeah. Okay, I can rate film. When it works really well.
Great.
We've been trying to piece together how to do it. It's been so long for me.
I know.
I just remember it's a lot of testing, a lot.
Yeah.
Like an entire day of just shooting and processing film and.
Well, I can remember, was it in the early 80s when we were starting to do digital, and David Drake and I were sitting around drinking coffee, and we were going, it's going to be years before digital can even rival film. Yes, the convenience is there, but the quality wasn't. And then it's basically, you turn around and go like, oh my God, the quality in this digital stuff is unbelievable. And there was still plenty of room to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But-
do you shoot film, Ron?
No. It's been so long since I've shot film. I think the last time I actually used a DSLR rather than my phone was when Nancy and I were in the class with Zajac, the advanced digital class. That was probably the last time I actually used a DSLR.
I think that was
Predominantly, I take pictures with the camera in the phone or it's video. And yes, on my video camera, I can hit it to do I have two memory cards recording at the same time. That's cool. One of them in the AVC HD for the super quality that I can do. I can author Blu-ray also and stuff like that.
Wow.
And or just regular HD, and then in the other memory card just does it in MP4, and it still gives it a really good quality. And then also on the B channel memory card is where any still photos go. So there's a thing I can punch it to do, okay, I want a still of this. And this way, it's very versatile.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, the way things have changed. We don't have to get in a covered wagon and wait till nightfall to process film anymore.
These will be the new cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these will be the newest cameras.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Right.
Me too.
I got.
I might be getting
40 mine.
Yep.
Phone.
Everybody's got them. What kind of
40.
video camera are you using, Ron?
I have an iPhone, the 8.
Oh, so that's what you're using to record the Kennedy game?
Oh no. I mean, no, I don't. I have a Canon. It's kind of small, but it actually has a really good optical zoom, and then it also has a digital zoom at the end. VXF, or I don't know what
So when you're on the top of Handel Stadium,
yeah.
Are you using a tripod to get that thing?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And
Yeah.
I have a quality video tripod with fluid head.
Okay, right. So it's
There's
not
a lot of
trophy.
other teams that come up there, and they have these rinky dinky, super skinny, probably a step or two below aluminum tripod. I mean, they're so flimsy, and and then it's probably a friction head, not a fluid head.
Wow.
And it's just kind of like, no, I think when I bought that tripod, it's much heavier tripod than I need for the weight of the camera that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a fluid head.
Okay.
I can pan, tilt, whatever, and it flows with it, so it's a smooth, easy transition. It's not a jerky process. So
Right.
that's one of the things that other people that have done things maybe for Kennedy before I came along, they didn't really have the right equipment. Or I've always used my own equipment, because that way I know it's taken care of, it's transported in a proper case.
Yeah.
The batteries are charged, even though when I'm at a location that has an AC connection, I'll plug it in and I'll run it off of that. So I'm not, it won't be in the middle of a play that, ooh, the battery's dead, But if I'm on a location that I don't have that, I have 3 or 4 full-size batteries, and then at halftime I'll change them, and it's less than half used, but I'll change them to a fully charged battery.
Right.
That was part of the training from the Navy Reserve when we go on projects and we'd be away from the base. And also from my experience doing wedding photography back in the days when it was film, it's have your backup equipment, have all of this, have extension cords. You might not need to schlep it all the way up to your location, but you have it on scene in case there's a problem. And in case there's a problem, if you can't fix it within maybe 30 seconds, change it out.
Right. Mhm. Yeah.
But it's just, I was a Boy Scout.
Prepare for the
Be
worst.
prepared, you know?
Yeah.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They're
and
lucky. They're lucky they got somebody like you doing that.
well, I enjoy it. I am a little good at it.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
And Nancy's still shooting the stills, right?
Yeah. It was the year that Nancy had her heart surgery. Yeah, she wasn't down on the field that year. So she's missed a few things, but I only missed one game, and that was not last season, football 19. It was in football 18, because my my Navy Reserve unit was being disestablished. So I went down to San Diego for that and saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in 20, 25 years.
Oh,
But
wow.
Wow.
and then that particular time, because we traveled down on Friday night because the ceremony was early Saturday morning. So I let them know weeks in advance, and they got someone else to cover it. Well, the Friday night game was canceled for some reason. It was rescheduled for Saturday, but they never notified me.
No.
I could have made it back had I known, the time and stuff like that. But again, that's part of the other thing. They just were really poor on communicating. So I was kind of, whatever.
Yeah. Right. And you've been doing it for 26 years or 22 years?
26.
Wow.
So you started in 86?
I think it was, no, 83, 84.
83. God, I missed you by 1 year.
Yeah. I mean, no. 93, 94.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. It was, not in the 80s.
Okay.
And okay, there was a long time coach that, now were you a student? I think it was 78 football season that they won their first CIF title.
I remember that, but I was at Walker in the 8th grade.
Okay. A player on that team, Ted Canfield, was a longtime defensive coordinator for the team. He hung it up a few years ago.
Wow.
So now I'm the longtime tenured affiliate with the coaching staff, even though I don't coach per se, but they use the product that I deliver to assist them in the coaching process of showing them, hey, this is what you did right, and that's where you didn't, or look at his tendencies over here, you know?
Yeah, no, that's invaluable to when you're learning the thing.
Yeah.
Video.
And then the
too.
last couple of years, they have a local area Wi-Fi connection. So the things from my camera, they can see on a monitor on the field, you know, just
Oh,
seconds after the play.
That's cool.
that
yeah.
is amazing.
But and that was one of the deals that I was telling the coaches this year. I says, okay, yeah, I can still do it, but I'm 72. I can carry my own gear up the stadium, up the ladder, but you need to have one of the walking wounded players or someone else carry this local area Wi-Fi stuff because it's heavy,
Oh,
you know, and it's going like, hey, I don't need this, you know. I'll help them set it up. I'll do like this. And then they have to have someone up there to, it would be so convenient if the system would record to the thing that goes down to their monitor whenever I hit record. It doesn't do that. You have to hit a different button.
oh,
And now with some of the HDMI cables to link them,
yeah.
it's distance away. And then like this year, if we have a season, they will probably stretch it pretty close to the 20 feet away from me, or at least the 6 to 8 feet away from me.
Mm.
But it just, I could do it, but then if I'm going over here to push that button and then coming back, it's going to be jerky, or I'll miss some of the things of the play. It's kind of like, you want me here to record the play, and now you're using this other technology, and it interfaces, but it's not totally interfacing with my on and off switch.
Well, I can't see why they wouldn't assign you an AV assistant.
Well, they have sort of, but then it was when I was doing things the last few years, when Mitch Olson came back into Southern California, he's the Loera head coach now.
Okay.
And so I would do a few games for him when it was not in conflict, you know, either Thursday or Friday when Kennedy was playing one or the other, or once in a while, even a Saturday game. So I did between 4 and 6 games for Loera the past few years.
Okay.
But
Same stadium.
Can be, you know, Loera played a lot of games at Glover.
Oh yeah.
Or then sometimes they play teams like it, further, you know, and sometimes they'd even play at Handle.
Right.
But, and then sometimes, just like Kennedy, some of our away games are South County and stuff like that.
That's true.
We
That's
didn't
true.
go too far South County, but we could.
I remember doing, when I was at Kennedy, because I was in the band, we'd do football games over there by Moreno's. You know that Moreno's restaurant on, is it Chapman? And it's basically the city of Orange. What school was that? There's a high school. over there.
That would be Fred Kelly Stadium at
Yeah. What was that school? I feel like they tore that school down.
Oh, right. No. They've just, well, there was one year, I forget if Andy was playing, so that would have been in the late 90s. And the name of the stadium is Fred Kelly Stadium.
Right, I remember that.
But it's in Orange. Orange High School would use it as a home field.
Okay.
El Medina High School.
A few of my friends went there. Yeah.
In the middle of, we were losing. I think we were playing Villa Park, and we were losing by no more 10 points roughly. and we're moving the ball really well, and we're doing a sweep, and they had a very good defense. We're doing a sweep around the far side from the press box, and it's going along. Boom, lights went out.
Oh,
You know,
jeez.
and so they stopped the game. They tried rebooting everything, couldn't get it to go, and then it was, but it was canceled, postponed for the next afternoon to pick up where we were.
Huh.
But again, that particular play, we had a good block on their end. We had a very good running back. We possibly would have scored, or at least gotten down really far. And it's kind of, you know, even though you come back, you recondition, you never can regain that exact momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but and I think we did wind up losing that game.
Mm.
Aw.
I know. But the next year, I do believe the next year was when we won our CIF division, and it was the same running back that was running. It was his junior year. It was Eddie Pleasant,
Mm.
and the next year he came back. He was all everything. He got a full ride scholarship straight to Oregon. Was
Wow.
a starter for his 4 years, and he played in the NFL for about 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, so. Well,
Great.
we've had a number of really good high school players that either chose not to continue, or where they went, they weren't that good. And then some of the people that continued and did extremely well. So it's kind of fun to go back and reminisce and stuff.
I'm gonna get my juice. Be back.
That's neat. It's a shame you're thinking of hanging it up. If I were doing something like that, I would try to do it as long as I could.
Oh, well, yeah. But I mean,
Especially if you love it, you know.
the primary reason I was going to hang it up is I didn't like the new coach.
Yeah.
Who's there. Dan Urbanos is back there, and I think he was the quarterback football season 05, and I think it was 06 that we won the CIF.
Yeah.
And but he teaches on campus.
Right.
And a number of his assistant coaches are on campus. So it's getting back to what it's like to be Irish.
Yes.
You know, and so since they're back, and I told him, says, yeah, I'll assist as much as I can. But I said, but I do want a little help of lugging some of the gear up.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. It says, I can take care of my own, because my tripod, it's a little bit heavy, but I have a case for it. It has a shoulder strap. You know, my camera, I've downsized the physical dimensions and weight, but the optical and quality gathering is as good or better as any of the cameras I've ever used.
Right.
So
that's cool. Yeah, my sister, who's 11 years older than me, she went to Kennedy when it was called La Palma High School.
Okay.
And then they assassinated John F. Kennedy, and then they changed the name to.
Now, okay, I'm a little confused. It was my understanding it was in construction. It was going to be called La Palma, but I think before it actually opened, they petitioned, and they have the notoriety of actually being the first high school in the United States to actually be named John F. Kennedy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
That's what my understanding was.
Right. Yeah. That's probably actually the way it went down. But
yeah,
I remember you said that it was going to be called La Palma.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, okay, she's sleeping.
And La Palma would have been an okay name for it, since it's right in La Palma.
Yeah.
But Kennedy is a better name.
Yeah, I went to Ireland, with the marching band.
Yes. Yeah, they've done that a number of years.
Yeah, and I was in the newspaper. I was a photographer in the newspaper, and one of my colleagues in newspapers' names,
his name at that time was Gary Kaufman, and he's since changed his name to King Kaufman, and he's a reporter for I believe in whatever the big paper is in San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, a sports guy, sports reporter. Yeah. We were talking about name changing before because Raul here's not even sure what his name is, but it's been changed a few times.
It's probably something like Fast Jimmy Ramone or something like that. Yeah.
I can't keep track of my name.
I've only had the one. Grace.
Nuh-uh. Penlux.
Oh, that.
Oh.
I never use it though.
I know, but I never knew Penlux was her official real name.
Right.
He was in a history of photography class with David, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah. And
must-
they were going to, one of the assignments is make a pinhole camera.
Mm.
Okay. And as the students would turn them into the stock room, we'd have them back on the shelf. And then when they were all in, David would look at them and grade them. And here's this really cool box camera with a cool lens on it and the back and everything. There was probably far more intricacies in how she made it, but across the top on a arch above the lens, it had Pinlux. And I'm going like, oh my God, what a concept. A pinhole camera. Lux is a photo unit of measure of light. What a cool name. And when I commented that, she looked at me like, kind of rolled her eyes that that is my name. You know, my name is
my name on the my homework.
Yeah.
That's all. That's really all it was.
Yeah.
I
But
labeled
again,
my
see,
homework.
you were destined to be a photographer with that name.
I suppose so. I didn't.
No
even-
kidding.
You should make your own camera brand named Pinlux.
That'd be a great name.
I should get Jonathan Fletcher to show me how to make, really nice pinhole cameras. And then just
And then there was one of our more senior students around that time that I think he was the one we have a scholarship over in Cyprus for the Art League that his wife continues.
oh gosh, Freddie. No, that's a girl.
Yeah. Yeah, Freddie was the one in the computer graphics area that Rob and Greg Rager got to know in the early days.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But anyway, an older guy, and I think if not the guy that the scholarship is under, it was someone else of that same era that either his career field or a hobby was machining and tinkering around with things. Oh, he made a pinhole camera that he had either different backs altogether, that things were changed so the lens would be different focal length.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah. it was definitely a work of art.
That's
We've
cool.
had a few really sharp students go through the doors there.
So that's a question I have for you and Grace. Like stock rooms they're probably not going to be in operation this year in
Really?
colleges because of touching the same stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah, I talked to Lydia, who's in automotive. She said the school is leaning towards online only.
Right. According to everything I'm getting from as a student there, they're saying that's it, online. That
Mhm.
You guys worked in that stockroom forever. I mean, what kind of things did you see in there? From my point of view, you guys are always extremely courteous and professional and
Aw.
patient.
Yeah,
So
but
what
then
was
when the
going on- what was
jerks,
going on in your mind, Rob?
when the students that were jerks would walk away, we'd look, Grace and I look at each other and go, ah. but then we go, oh, how may we help you? No.
There were a bunch of students that just would get pissed off at us, like students who wouldn't really know what they were talking about, and they would ask for something. We're like, we don't have one. They're like, yes, you do. I just used it. I'm like, you don't have that. It's like, yes, you do. How dare you say it? You just don't want me to use it. I'm like, we don't have one.
Well,
This-
I do
those-
think they hassled you a little more than they hassled me.
Female, younger.
Yep.
Oh, especially the older students. The
Yes.
older students would be like, I've been doing photography so much longer than you have been alive.
Yeah. Maybe that could be true, but that doesn't mean you're any better or you know anything.
Yeah, I mean, like points. I think I was there for 17 years, I think.
Oh, I first met you when you were still a kidlet.
I was freshie out of high school.
Yep.
I learned so much from Ron. I would dare to say I learned more from Ron about photography than any teacher, or
Hmm.
even two teachers combined.
Well, because you could ask me more specific questions, and you'd have to sit through an entire lecture. Even though I've been known to go on and on about some things. Okay, Joy, I see that. I see that. You go, yeah.
I remember coffee talks.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What could you learn? You know, you guys are both photographers before working there. What did you learn? What could some photographer learn if they worked in a stockroom about photography?
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
You guys look at all kinds of crappy
Because there's-
pictures.
because there's the instructors, the only instructor that I worked with as an employee that I sat in a classroom with was David Drake predominantly. John Wyckoff, I took a class with after I was already working there a few years because he was doing a portraiture class that was I can coincide with my lunch break. And so we got it cleared from the dean and everything like that. And we had hourly student to cover. And so I'd sit in on the lecture and then I'd go and do the things. The only bummer with that, and Wyckoff was a very good instructor, very knowledgeable on problem solving, but he could kind of feel the level of expertise of the students in the class.
Mm.
There were only 3 of us in the class that really had enough technical background to do the assignments that we should be doing. And so he dumbed down the projects for the masses. And then the other 3 of us were kind of, okay. You know, some of the students in the class that didn't have the technical yet were far more creative than I was. And so, yeah, you know, I'll help you on the technical and let's brainstorm different creative things. And so that was one of the benefits. And that was one of the things that later on that Jerry would incorporate, but actually better than Jerry, I think Cliff incorporated that of getting the groups together and would kind of pair the less experience from a technical standpoint with the others. And sometimes less technical, they were far more creative.
Yeah.
And so he would get them in groups. So that was definitely one of the strong points that Cliff brought to the program.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I
And,
think I
well,
Oh.
and Cliff started getting them involved in, okay, you have these talent skills. Maybe you should give back to the community, pay it forward, the benefits that you have, the access to good equipment, and go and doing it for that Para los Niños and stuff like that. And so that, I think, helped a lot of the students realize the power of the photograph and what they could do to help other organizations, you know, help with fundraisers or whatever. And it just, you know, it's not all about you, you know, think of other people too.
That's very true. I did some of those projects.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd say like I learned a lot about gear. I would find stuff in the stockroom all the time and I'd be like, Ron, what is this? And you would explain it to me. And it was stuff I never had to use in a class. Like a lot of just like how to take apart enlarger. Ron pretty much taught me how to take apart an entire enlarger, put it back together, how to clean it, how to
No.
fix things.
And we almost never said, oops.
There was this one time I know Ron was really mad at me. I went to go change the color chemistry or something, and I accidentally swapped them, so we had to clean out the whole machine.
Oh man. Oops.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple hours that Ron had. He used to shake.
But I still love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the backs would get pulled off the view cameras all the time. Like all the time.
And I could take them apart and reset the spring to get it in there. And
Yeah.
for the most part, I was able to fix most of those things. But prior to students jacking them up, I didn't know anything about it, but I could look at something and kind of figure it out. And then when we had a black and white processor or the nitrogen burst C41 line, go in there and something's not working, and I would take it apart while I was cleaning it, and then you kind of dismantle it even more. I was going, okay, I know I'm gonna have to order a part. And so I would sketch, okay, what connected to what and stuff like that, because it would be weeks before we get the part. We get the part back. Okay, yeah, that's how it goes back together. And we're able to make it work.
And since we were back there, we had access to the gear from every single class. Like there'd be times where it'd be like one specific instructor use this one piece of equipment, and unless you were in that one class with that one instructor, you would never get to use it. And so we were forced to learn it because of our job. And so if we didn't know how to use
everything.
it, show us. So I got to learn so much more gear working there than as a student. And then here's another thing that I really appreciated. Working there, we had to work with all the instructors. So in my time alone, I know I had to work with about 42 different instructors.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm sure Ron has far more. But imagine getting to learn from 42 different people who are just masters in their field. And because they want to do a project for their class, and they would say, hey, I need you to set up this demo. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And so they would show me how to do it. And they would just have to go through everything with me so they can go through it with their class. And I could be able to help the students if they're not there. So I learned so much more from working there than I ever would have from, probably even getting a master's degree. I probably wouldn't have learned that much stuff.
Well, I thought I trained you a little bit for, it used to be when David Drake was doing either the intermediate, 103 class or some of the technical classes, and he'd go in there and we'd set up in the studio. And then after a while, I went and I had a nice chat with him, and I said, okay, it's okay for us to set it up, because he always, it was uncanny. He would go in there, he'd set it all up, he would know what the exposure probably would be, whether it was available light, the hot lights, or even strobe. Doing it so many times, he knew what it should be, but he's always wanted to test it. And then after a while, I was going, David, we have it all set up for the students. They come in, boom, boom, boom. You show them the Polaroid, and then a day later or a week later, they come in and they say, well, I need the stuff for that, the cereal box or whatever it was. And they had no clue how to set it up. And so I said, how about we'll have all the equipment in there, and then the students can work with you to set everything up. So this way they have participated, they have a better understanding of how to set up for a shoot.
Yeah.
And he was very reluctant, but then he's going, yeah, I guess we could do it like that. And then it was so much better for the students after that, because they could do everything.
I remember for a while, when we switched to it was already set up in the studio. And it sucked because students didn't know how to set it up. They didn't know how to put together a softbox for a while because it was always set up. I'm glad
They didn't know how to put a view camera on a tripod.
Yeah, they didn't know how to do that. And so that kind of sucked. And it was like, every time that someone would come in to do an assignment, you know, one of us would get pulled out to go set it up. So it's not like they ever learned how to do it. So if they ever left the department, they can't do it.
I try to figure things out before I ask for help.
To a certain extent, that's good. To a certain extent, I've also seen where that goes really bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really bad.
No, I had one of those speedotrons explode on me, so or arced.
Yeah.
There was right now I forget who it was, but that was back when Jim Hansen was working there.
Mhm.
Very
Oh,
good
Jim
commercial
Hansen.
photographer, and they were doing a. Okay, they needed a dark studio. They had it was the view camera lens was open in a dark studio and multiple pop with the strobe unit to be multiple exposure effect on the film.
Mhm.
And you know, so the flash goes off, it's back to pretty dark in the room, even though your eyes are still kind of like this, you know, and then they'd settle down. And then they would hit something again, you know, to do the other pop when their student assistant in there would move something a little bit to get the multiple effect, you know, multiple exposure effect.
Yeah.
And this one time, I think it was Frank Mummery. Do you remember him, Grace?
No, I don't. That was just before my time.
Okay, but he was in there, and I think he was squatting right next to the Norman Power Pack, hitting the other button, and it exploded. A fireball went through the vents on the side, and I think he needed to go to the restroom to help take care of a few things.
Oh my gosh.
Well, because it would figuratively, literally scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because it was a giant fireball. I was in the stockroom. They were in what was Studio 3 that became the large carriage printer, you know, the studio by the finishing room.
Mhm.
And it was a massive fireball. I could hear it in the stockroom. You know, the door was closed and everything. And I go, oh my gosh, you know.
Wow.
Dang.
We would get so many weird things. Like people would set stuff on like the product tables that they shouldn't have, and like it would break all the time. And those aren't cheap. They're like, you know, I think just the plexi alone for it was probably close to $400.
And you couldn't get it readily. It had to be one that was specific for that because of the thickness of it, a degree of flexibility so you could put a cove in it.
And it was color balanced. Well, it wasn't color, it was
Well,
color neutral,
kinda.
so it would be
Yeah.
shot through it.
Yeah.
So it was not like just a regular piece of Plex. And like even little things, like if someone knocked over a light, you know, that was $100 bulb. And it was expensive.
But on the one thing were you going to say something, Jimmy Ramone?
I was gonna say, you guys came in and rescued me to get the flash tube replaced because it exploded on me.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The assignment.
That
And
happened.
there's a picture somewhere where we're holding it and I'm pointing at the, you know, but
I don't know if I saw that photo
yeah.
anymore.
People would put things away in a really weird way. They like, I would
They
find
wouldn't
ladders
coil
hung
the
up on
cables properly and everything is all kinked up. I mean, it's so simple. It takes basically the same amount of time to coil the cables the right way instead of getting them all kinked up.
Yeah, and
You
it
know?
sucks.
What's wrong with
You
that?
have to do it the right way because, you know, one person doing it wrong doesn't mess up the cable, but we have 400 students every semester and 400 people constantly doing it wrong breaks stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Grace getting on to me about that.
Uh-huh.
He
Uh-huh.
handed
But
me.
I trained you well. I trained you well.
So funny.
There was
I'm not taking this back. I'm not taking this back. No. No, we're doing it right.
Nope, do it right.
Yep. But Ken, going along with the question you had earlier, wondering about what we might have learned in the
Yeah.
stockroom.
Yeah.
One project in particular that I recall, I'd never done it. It was I forget exactly what class. It was an advanced class, maybe technical. And it was a project that Krista was working on.
Mhm.
And it was to make it like a party thing or like a nightclub thing. And she had a variety of intricate things in there. But whenever she used the flash on camera firing right at first, she had streamers and it would wipe out the person behind the streamers.
Mhm.
And I had just recently read something and I said, okay, the camera you have, you can go into the menu and set it so the flash will sync when the rear curtain is doing its thing, not when it's first opening. So you can get the camera, the flash to go after the fact.
Yeah.
Says, from what I read, I think it will work. You know, she's going like, I'll give it a try. And she went in and she goes, it worked, you know? And so she was able to get more of the ambient look of the person and some of the things. And then the flash went off after that was already recorded to fill in what she needed filled in. But I had never done it before, but it was funny. It was a day or two before I just, in one of the magazines, I had read about it and I was going like, hey, this is a feature on this model camera, give it a try.
That's
I remember
cool.
we learned a lot from students too, because they would be, you know, a little bit more up on like the newer tech. And so they come in and they're like, oh, what about this? And I'm like, I've never heard of it. So you just go home that night and you just Google it and you just learn it, or else like otherwise you wouldn't hear about it. You know, there's only so much I can go home and just read on my own.
Right.
So sometimes you just need someone to bring it up and you're like, oh, I don't know about that. I need to go look it up. I'll
Okay.
get back to you.
Grace, did you ever know Mary Fisher? I think she might have been before your time.
She's before my time, but I know her for some reason. And I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, she worked at, when it was Cypress Photo Art that was over on, was it Ball or Cerritos? I forget. It was close by the school. But anyway, good photographer, technically proficient, read an awful lot. And there were both different times. I think she called John Wyckoff out on something more often, but she also got Jim Hansen one time because they'd be going on some new concept. And what they were saying was kind of true, but it wasn't 100% factual. And so Mary called him on it a couple different times of, hey, time out. I don't think it works like that. Where did you get this? And sometimes, you know, they kind of, oh, well, you know, so she'd hold their feet to the fire. And in those days, we met 2 days a week, either Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, something like that. And by the next class meeting, both of them different times, went and actually researched it when you had to either go to a library or go somewhere because you didn't have the internet,
Right.
you know, and they came back and, okay, what I said was kind of true, but this is really the way you would do it. And these are the steps. And so there were many students, but she's one I remember in particular that would challenge the very knowledgeable instructors, but if the way they were saying it, you know, she would definitely, and she might have even said bullshit in the class, you know, but she would just tell them, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. You know, you need to explain it better.
It was a lot more casual when I started. There was a lot more leeway to say things like bullshit, you know, to like, say that to your instructor.
Well, again, as it was for many, many, many years a family environment that there was mutual respect, quest for learning, quest for doing things better. But for the most part, the students knew who the authority figures were and wouldn't really cross a line. And if they had a real issue, if they had an issue with the instructor rather than an issue with what was said, if it was something that would benefit everyone, they would challenge them in a nice way. If it was something they really disagreed with, they'd see them on the side after the class for a better clarification. And then sometimes the instructors would bring it back up in class, like, okay, if one had the issue, it's possible that a few more didn't totally understand it. But well, and like I'd said at David Drake's retirement, I said, well, we have been like a family, very dysfunctional at times, like a lot of family, but we're still family. We agreed we could disagree and iron things out.
Oh yeah, we fight back, behind the stockroom door. We do fight back there. We just try not to do it in front of students.
Oh, I never saw it.
Because we were sneaky.
Facts.
But you guys had a great, I'm a photo nerd. I'm not a professional. I'm not any good, but I have this ravenous curiosity about photography, and you guys got to see so many aspects of photography. And like if you worked, I did a little stuff in editorial, as an assistant, but that's all I saw. I didn't see food. All the different photos you guys saw, the bad ones and the good ones, all the different types of photo setups, from photographing a watch to photographing people. You guys saw a lot of photography being done.
Yeah, it was a learning experience. I probably learned more working there than actually taking classes. But that's the nature of the job. You have to stay on top of it, because when a student comes up to you, you have to have an answer.
Right. And you guys always had the answer. You say that someone else would have the answer. Grace was talking about that earlier. But the truth is, I've asked Ron questions and I've asked you questions, and never once did you have to ask somebody else what the answer was. That could be because my questions were so, stupid.
It could be, but I was there, what was it? I think all in all.
You grew up there.
Yeah, 22 odd years. Yeah, it was about 22 years I was there total. So I did see a lot in 22 years working every day. Ron, how long were you there, Ron? 46?
Well, working 37, but affiliated definitely in the 40s because of, I started as a student in 72. I was quasi full-time or part-time student through 75. I started working there in 77. And then after I retired in the end of the year in 13, and then I was away for a little bit and then back as a student a couple different times. And I'd come back and forth and visit just because we live close by.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was 40 plus years affiliation.
Yeah.
But
Those are fun times.
yeah, they were.
Like, oh, our food. Oh, that was the best part. Like, what I liked is that it wasn't like specific class. It wasn't like the lower classmen. The 101s didn't associate with like the advanced students. Everyone just kind of like during meal times, everyone would just come together and we would share ideas and share technique and stuff like that. And I don't like the new system who are segregated.
Right.
Yeah.
That, you'd have to go through like 2 years of school before you got to that level. You can kind of learn it over lunch.
Well, and for the majority of the time, the major strength of the program was the fact of repeatability on any class.
Yes.
I
Once they
enjoyed
got
that.
rid of
Yeah.
repeatability,
I
that
like that. I
so
missed
much.
that when they got rid of that.
Because that way you, okay, there would be people that this is maybe their third semester in a class, and they were quasi-technical, but that was the primary strength. They weren't very artistic.
Okay.
And so they'd come in and they'd meet young people that were very artistic, that didn't understand necessarily how to work different pieces of equipment. And it helped the new students want to continue and stay involved because it was a friendly existence. You know, they got to know and oh wow, that's a person that's been there so many years and they've won all these awards at the student show and they actually talk to me, you know, type of thing. And it was all inclusive.
Yeah, and another thing I liked about repeatability is like, I think I took portrait 3 times from 3 different instructors, and I
Yeah.
learned like, 3 times as much, even though it was the same
Well,
class.
and then you can learn, even if it was the same project, the technique that this instructor was a different lighting technique than that one. And then so you can kind of pick and choose and come up with now your own technique.
Mm-hmm.
See, I tried that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna try to take, I think, studio lighting like 2 different
Uh-huh.
times. Hopefully, get 2 different instructors. I got clipped both at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I deliberately failed the class so I can retake it.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times.
I shouldn't admit that, but it's the only way
Yeah,
nowadays. I mean, I guess you could audit, but even then, that's a process, and you're not allowed access to the lab.
yeah.
Technically.
True.
Yeah,
Well,
if you're auditing, you can't.
The last year or so, you couldn't have access to the lab other than your scheduled lab time only.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
stupid.
Right.
And then I don't even know how. Like, well, I mean, I guess now you can sign up for lab, so it's not.
That was a
too bad.
separate class that you'd
That's
have
a
to
separate
pay
class. Yeah.
additional lab fee for, and
Yeah.
then you're still restricted on when you could use it.
So
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's another
because so
thing.
many classes are now filmed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you get permission from the teacher to,
Yeah.
if you're allowed to be in the dark room at the same time.
And they weren't always happy about having you in there with their class
Yeah.
in the last couple of years. Some of the teachers, which, I don't know why. I mean,
Because nobody knew anybody else, because they reamed the successful cadre of adjunct instructors and started with people that knew the same secret handshake rather from a different location.
Mhm.
But
So,
it doesn't work. I mean, like, just different demographics even, and they would try to do what they did at the other school with a different demographic of students. Like, the students at OCC are not the students at Cypress. They're
Yeah.
slightly wealthier, and so they
Okay.
have access to a lot more of their own equipment. Cypress didn't. A lot of people at Cypress had to work as well as go to school, and so we had to keep the lab open a little bit more for people that had to work,
Yeah.
or else you would never be able to get an education. Like, how do you get the time off?
Yeah.
no, it's true. That's all true.
I remember talking to a mother that was at school. She goes, "Oh, I gotta hurry." It's like, "Why?" He's like, "I gotta make my son lunch or dinner tonight." So I gotta finish up. Like, "How old's your son?" It's like, "He's 13." I'm like, "He can make a PB&J. Finish your assignment."
Yeah.
It's like, "No, I need to like give him a text, tell him to make himself PB&J. You're on a homework assignment. You're on finals.
Mhm.
He should understand."
So you guys, as students, I know there's a lot of peer learning. So like, what did you guys talk with other students? What did you guys teach other students? Like, they come up to you, ask you stuff, and what were you guys sharing?
I was always asked to help them with film.
Film, okay.
Yeah, like, because I remember you especially telling like, "Oh, I don't have time for this. Go to that guy over there. He'll help you with the processing equipment and stuff."
You were willing.
I was, and I loved it. I got really good at it.
But I wouldn't say that unless I trusted that you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Like
Unless Reagan-
otherwise, I'd be out there going, "I'll go do it."
Unless Reagan was nearby, then I'll just make up some bull crap.
Or we'd give them the fog practice film in an empty reel. Here, practice. This is how you start it, and go around there like, go and do it. That's the only way you're going to get any better. You have to practice it,
Yeah.
and then if you've done it a few times, okay, maybe you're going to screw up a roll of film, but now do it for real.
Yeah.
Because the lab people, the instructors, we can only hold your hand so long. If
Yeah.
you want to do this, you have to do it.
I always
Mhm.
told the students, like, hey, buy at least like 5 rolls of film to practice. Don't shoot anything like good on it. Just shoot it for fun, and just use that practice roll for your developing. Because if you know there's nothing on there good and you mess up on it, then you know you're not going to lose anything.
But see,
Yeah.
then also one of the problems with phrasing it that way, how do they know if it may or may not be anything good?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess don't go shoot your friend's wedding. I guess.
Yeah. Don't shoot anything important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like shoot plants or a cat or something.
But basically, the way to learn how to use the camera, how to process film, run film through the camera, shoot stuff.
Yeah. I tell people, like, if you want to really know how to be a good photographer, shoot a wedding.
I'd say work on understanding your equipment really well before you go and shoot someone's wedding.
Or just know your stops.
You know,
Yeah.
Raul, you worked there for like what, 6 years? I mean, what kind of stuff did you go through?
Raul's muted.
Oh, he is. Oh, okay.
He needs to.
Oops,
There
how
you
about
go.
now?
Yeah.
Sorry
Yay.
about that. I was outside checking the crazy foliage.
Ah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is
Cucumbers?
that's some cantaloupe, and not cantaloupe. Was it lily? Melon, a lily Crenshaw melon.
So are you doing any more phallic looking peppers?
No.
Okay.
Okay,
Grace,
so what's your
Grace
question?
got a
Grace?
little
I'm sorry.
excited on that one.
Oh, you worked there for 6 years. What kind of stuff did you have to go through, behind the stockroom door? Like
Um,
the secrets behind the stockroom door.
Dun, dun, dun.
well, first off, I was more a student tutor / mentor first off. Before in the stockroom, I was working with Cliff
Mm-hmm.
in the digital technician class.
Yeah.
So I had to sit in the class and making sure. Ooh, that was loud.
Yeah. Oops.
I
Sorry.
know it was different for the first semester or the first year when working there. It was weird because I wasn't like an official tutor per se speaking.
Yeah, you
But
you were under the grant, weren't you?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think yeah, I was.
Was
Yes.
under the grant, but it was like everyone did everything anyway. I mean, as much as they would say, "Oh, you're only supposed to do this," it never worked
But
out.
No.
yeah,
Yeah, but that needs to be done as whether it's a safety issue or not. For the most part, we had good people that were behind the scenes that were okay. Most photographers are visually stimulated and they observe something. Generally, they either would bring it to our attention and or they would go and try and correct it. And then they let us know, okay, this is what I've done. I hope it wasn't, someone was leaving that for a different thing, but the people that were behind the scenes, I think, communicated really well.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah, definitely.
but I don't know. It was It was really strange for the first semester. It really was for me. I wasn't sure what to expect. As time went on, then started working in the stock room. It was a lot of knowledge be passed down to understand how the stock room operated. Like,
Yeah.
Not just to locate things where things were at, and talking about terms of more depth of the equipment, understanding the equipment. If something breaks, if you can to repair it. Thank you, Ron and Grace, for that. You did show me some thing or two. I'm not gonna lie, so thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Hope you know that.
Of course.
Yeah,
because they would break that shit.
Fixing printing fixing printers was, it had some knowledge beforehand, but at the same time, like something that broke down was so simple and I couldn't fix it. I felt like a stumper.
It's not that, it's just so much equipment. I don't know how many times like Ron and I had to take apart just even the print dryer because someone would get something in there. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was like every other week we were taking that thing apart.
Because, we didn't need to wash all the fixer off of it. We're in a hurry. So I'm going to rush it through right now.
And then it would coat every single roller. So we'd have to pull everything out, wash every roller, reassemble it.
I wish I was able to grasp on that, like how to do that. Who had I keep going to? It was Greg. That's who it was. Poor Greg. I'm sorry, Greg.
There's 5 of them.
Rager.
Okay.
And I know he was getting annoyed with me because I don't know how to fix it, but he knew.
It took a long time. Like it took me years to get to it. Ron would just teach me one thing this time, one thing that time, one thing that time.
That's one of the things
I knew I had to do limited instruction because I wasn't sure how fast you'd grasp. No, joking.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much to learn behind this argument. It really was.
There's so many tools. It's like the spanner wrench. I didn't know what a spanner wrench was until Ron showed me.
That's for taking the different lenses apart.
Off the lens board or the
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or
one of those.
In long before Grace or Yvette were working there, when the 103 class did the majority of the assignments with a view camera.
Yeah.
People would use it quite a bit, and things, the iris diaphragm shutter would get jammed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first shutter I repaired, I didn't know what the heck, I'd never done it. Wyckoff was the department chair, and he's looking at us, says, "Oh, this is all jacked up because the leaves in there are messed." He says, "You're not going to ruin it any worse than it is. See if you can fix it."
Yeah.
Okay, so the spanner wrench, and that way, then as different need for different repair came up, I went through a different catalog and ordered a few specialty tools, and I'd take the thing, hey, this is pretty cool, this, and then lay it down in the order that it went back in and get all the lens elements off of the shutter, and then go in there and open some of that up. And then usually it was just somehow someone was, hitting the plunger too hard with the cable release, and some of the leaves just hung up. And you're going, and there were a few times that they totally fell all apart. It's going like, well, okay. I figured out, okay, put it back together, and here's a little indexing pin for each element, and it lines up on the aperture control. And so I'd just get it lined up. Hey, this is pretty cool, and it got it all back together. There was, during those days, I was active in my Navy Reserve unit, and it was with Combat Camera Group. I was with the group that did motion picture and then video production, but we had a still camera group over on the side. One of the guys that worked over there was a camera repair technician, had his own shop and all like that. And so one time I took the shutter to him and I said, okay, what do I do? And he says, oh yeah, you do like this, this, and this. And it says, oh, there's way too much lubricant on this, kind of use these cloths, wipe it off and then use this in there. And so again, I wasn't the sharpest tool the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I networked enough and I had people, I was like, okay, how do you do this?
You want to show me how to fix my lens?
I haven't done any of that in like a long time.
And we don't have I don't think we have the tools. We left them all at the college.
Right.
We need 2 lenses fixed. I'm too scared to do it myself.
Well, what brand?
I don't remember. I need to go look at them.
Yeah.
I'm going home. I'm supposed to be going home today to clean up my house.
Work.
Yeah.
Let's work.
I'll probably stay on for about 10 more minutes, and then I just got that phone call. Was
Oh, your car's ready?
my car? I think is ready.
Nice.
Yay. This is what else about?
Replacing the
Soccer.
battery.
Time to sink in.
Oh. So Ken, have you had to help a lot of students?
No, they all help me. I mean, I'm such a novice, and I only know how to take pictures of skateboarding, and so I wanted to
And you
learn.
do that really well.
Oh,
Yes, you do.
thank you. It's
And
just all by
you've
accident.
been doing that for many years.
Yeah, probably
No.
when I was in Canada, I was taking skateboard pictures
Yeah.
back in 80, 82. I started skateboarding pictures in, I guess, 79 with an F2, 1970.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was
So-
horrible, clueless.
At Cypress, do you get to use all the equipment now, or is like you have to be in that class to use that equipment now?
Well, I did that. What is the class? Where you get to the teacher just lets you do whatever you want. So then, I was able to
Special
use
projects.
Yeah, so like I would shoot portraits with the 4x5 last semester, and I would work on printing, because I'm horrible at printing. So I could do anything I wanted. The hardest room to get into was probably the big room where all the enlargers were at, because all the classes now are film, nearly all the classes, all the 101s anyways. And yeah, so I mostly was a sponge when I was there. I just was playing catch up.
Okay, so in 101, they don't do digital at all?
That I don't know, but I know that because last semester I tried to do exclusively, I just wanted to devote the entire semester to printing. And I had a rough time getting in that big room because there seemed to be a class in there all the time. And most of the time, all the enlargers were taken.
Yeah, there's
And,
only
and if
18.
there wasn't a class in there, the door to the black and white dark room usually was shut and locked.
Well, I could get in there, but you know how it is. You get going on this print, and then you're an hour in, and then a class shows up, and you got to leave. Oh, can you give up the enlarger because we got a full class?
Yeah.
Then you got to move all your stuff, and then you're kind of starting all over again on another enlarger.
Yeah,
like
and
in a
what I
small
don't
room.
understand is how you work it with 18 enlargers in a class of 25, and if they did more, then you could get up to like 28 students with only 18 enlargers. So what are the other 10 students doing? Something else?
I don't know. I don't know how they were doing that.
In the film and print on the digital printers.
Those are across campus. My last semester there, everything, the scanner and the digital printers, they're all in fine art.
Yeah,
Because-
the last time when I was working at the communications, their deal is that they wanted to move all of the photography department to the art department.
Which I'm not sure where there's room. I mean, technically speaking,
So
there's room, but it was
what
was
they're
the
doing, great,
unused room.
is once the new building's built, the new
Science.
science building's built, they're moving the whole fine art building department to the old science department, remodeling the art department, and then moving them back in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but still, I remember because they've been talking about this for 15 years. There was still not going to be enough space at
Right.
that time.
And they want the photography department there.
Oh yeah, we had planned that move for what, 15 years, Ron, at least,
Something, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But even and the blueprints that we saw at least 8 years before I retired, and I've been retired 6.5. It was, as you and I both know from different remodels on campus, here's approved blueprints, and you look at it and yeah, the area usage looks reasonably doable. By the time they actually build it, they've downsized from the thing that was only reasonably doable to now it's kind of like it's too cramped, it would be nowhere near the space like we used to have.
You look at it now, the classes in fine arts are still offered in our building, like, or not our building, but like in tech ed. And how are you going to fit an entire other department in there?
Yeah.
There's already not room for the departments that are there.
Right.
Well, like when we were, while I was still there and stuff like that, and trying to share 214 Digital Lab with aviation, travel careers things, and our students. And even though, yes, we had instructors on duty, so the 101 students could go down there. And luckily for the time when I was still there, I would communicate with Kathleen Ryland before she became the dean. And okay, the Monday night class, it's a Monday, Wednesday or something like that, is here's a few weeks that our 101 instructor needs that for the entire class. What's a time frame that would be less harm for your ticketing class that needs all the computers?
Yeah.
And we communicated, we were able to work it out, but we always knew it had the potential of being a problem.
Yeah. I remember because when I was working in communications, I always talked to the aviation because I had to take tons of photos of the aviation department because they were getting all the new equipment, they were getting the full simulator, full simulation, everything. And Ed was happy that the director of the aviation, he was really happy that he was getting all this stuff. But he's like, yeah, I kind of feel bad for the photo department because we're taking one of the studios. But I don't feel so bad because, like, with our donation, we gave them $50,000 donation out of that $1 million donation they got.
Well, that big studio was from the beginning supposed to be theirs.
Yeah.
It
So
was
a lot of the students and some of the teachers really hated the aviation because of that. But it's like, you guys got like a $50,000 like donation from them. Like, they gave you money.
yeah. Well, it was built because we were supposed to move. So the sequence was supposed to happen was I think they were in Tech Ed 2.
Yeah, they're in Tech Ed 2.
Yeah, they were in Tech Ed 2. And what was supposed to happen was we were supposed to move to fine arts. So they would get our space in Tech Ed 1. But we never moved. And so that studio was always built for their simulation lab. But what happened was our program kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we had more students, more FTESs, which allowed us to have more square footage.
Right.
And so we got that, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll be out in like a year or two or something like that, when we finally go to fine arts, move into the fine arts building, and then you'll get that. And then it was years, and so they finally got it. So it was always supposed to be there.
Well, again, we bought them a lot of computers for 214 for the shared lab.
Right.
And so it was
that whole transition, because it was the transition of you guys, everybody from the old lab moving out. And so there was a lot of hurt and a lot of like backstabbing going back and forth. And so it was that component, like losing the Tech Ed 2 studio.
They weren't going to move out of Tech Ed 2 unless they were promised more space in Tech Ed
Yeah.
1, but we never moved.
And then they let adult ed move in, so they totally lost their space.
Hmm.
So,
Wow.
There's all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
but then I've retired, so hey.
Yeah, I'm not there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure they'll work it out.
Yeah.
We always did. I'm sure they will too.
Right. They're in a state of flux. They're definitely. I've learned some things from the new people in that department.
Mhm.
It's just not the same, but that's the way things go, right? You have to adapt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the horrible thing is they don't give you time to adapt sometimes. Like going from an unscheduled lab to a scheduled lab, we could have made it work if they gave us like a year and said, hey, this needs to happen in a year. And we could have really figured out how to do it. But they're like, nope, you're doing it next semester.
Right.
And it's like, oh my gosh, how do we
Well,
change all of this?
And
in
again,
like
I think it's better meeting twice a week rather than not seeing your instructor for a whole week. But they didn't want to try and figure out how the open lab could have still worked. And that was a much better system for the students.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they didn't want to, and I get it if you're now one of the freeway flyer adjunct instructors and you're only gonna, your lectures on this day of the week for so many hours, and now you have to come back at a different day at a weird time frame to babysit the entire lab department. I get it where that was very awkward and inconvenient.
but it was also about money because if you had a scheduled lab, the school would just get paid for it.
Yeah.
And if we
And-
had the unscheduled lab, like you had to account for all the time, and if the students
But
don't go to the
we
lab,
did
you don't
that,
get
and
money.
then they changed the ground rules on how to report it, so they didn't get
Yeah.
paid the last time, and so
Mhm.
then it was all our fault. And they said, no, we did everything the way and by default we assumed the
The powers
state
that be.
had told you how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what screwed it all up, and then made it far more difficult for students to be able to complete projects in a far more timely manner.
I can't even figure out how you're going to go through the degree program at this point unless they change their degree requirements.
Right.
You would be there for like 10 years at this point.
I'll
Well,
be there.
it's
be
got to
there.
it's got to get back to a hands-on environment. Very few classes
Mhm.
can legitimately function online only.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you need the interaction, but right now it's not safe. But
Yeah.
classes like automotive or auto body paint, you can't do that online.
No.
Yeah. Then why take classes at all if you can just YouTube it?
You can't do
well, okay.
ceramics. You can't develop film online.
Right.
The
Yeah.
best way to do it for the painting is just get a what's it called, a toy model car, and get an airbrush, and then
Yeah. Well, and then again, because of the digital requirements for so many classes across the board,
yeah.
a lot of the community college students can't afford a working laptop or desktop computer
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
going to have the proper operating system and the proper software. Now, they might be able to, okay, for the semester, you can sign in and use our license for the software, but you still have to have the right computer.
Yeah.
So that's going to make it extremely difficult for so many.
Students don't have money to buy all that lighting gear, the camera gear, the lighting gear,
Oh
that
no.
to shoot.
Right.
True.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm glad I took the available light because that class taught me so much on like you don't need light, like you don't need light sources. You just need a bounce card.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one or two, and you're perfectly fine. Like
Mhm.
midday too.
It's just really learning how to see and use light.
Yeah.
And gee, you can go and do food photography with an iPhone and either a clean white napkin or your little other thing, your little portable light unit.
So fun.
Was my assistant for many of my food shoots.
Always get a table by a window.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Nice window light.
Grace, you should get HelloFresh. That's
No.
Yeah.
No.
I did it. So
What is
good.
that?
HelloFresh is like this food service that brings you meals.
It's,
Speaking of it,
Oh,
You make it yourself though.
yeah.
All the ingredients you make it yourself, and they're really good.
I have so much of it. I have so many ingredients. I have nearly every tool you can think of to cook.
Yeah, but now you can be trusted for the most part around sharp tools and open flame. You still have to watch out about grease though. Hot
Yeah.
grease can still get you.
I used to, about 5 years ago, I needed adult supervision around knives. Like Ron would have to be there to babysit me around like chopping vegetables.
because you're afraid you're gonna cut
And
your
open
finger?
flame.
Yeah, I cut myself so often. Ron actually bought me a
The first aid kit for her
because
birthday one year.
I was just hurting myself all the time.
Oh my gosh, Grace.
And it came in handy. Like I think a week later I cut myself open.
Yeah, it was a week at the most, maybe less than a week later. You text me, says, "Oh, thank you so much for that first aid kit. I really needed it." And you show me the Band-Aid on your finger.
Grace, like I'm the opposite. Like I can cook beef and I can't cook fish. Like fish is just I just can't do it. It's terrible. It's the worst. It just turns out dry. And flaky.
You're overcooking
Nancy
it.
cooks fish really well. And okay, remember, Grace, at some of the fine arts parties at Fred DePonte's place out in Lemon Heights, and the salmon, Nancy got the recipe, and you broil it, and you put sugar over it, and so then when you broil it and it caramelizes it, oh my God, that salmon is so good. And the first time we had it, Nancy, we had a really big hunk of salmon from Costco, and Nancy made that more for appetizers, not the main deal, because she wasn't certain exactly how it was going to go. Ryan got here and he saw it and he started eating it. Says, "Guy, where did you guys get this?" And Nancy goes, "I made it." He goes, "Yeah, right. Where did you get this?" You know? And it was so simple.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I guess I better get going. I'm gonna go pick up my car now.
Yeah, I better
Okay.
I agree.
Let's say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
So glad to
Alright.
see you, Ron.
Well, thank you. I'm glad Grace called me. I saw your post early in the morning, and I was going like, I don't think I have that. How do you do that? And I knew Grace.
Now you know.
Yeah. Well, now the application is on the laptop, so it makes it easy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Actually, I think you'd probably want to use it on the laptop and not on the iPad because you can't
Well,
get the grid
yeah.
on the iPad.
Can't see all the people. Yeah,
Yeah.
at once.
True.
Well, okay. And then, Miss Grace, are you still going to swing by after you get your car?
I believe so. Sal has something to do, but I don't know what. I know he has to go home.
Home.
Oh, I know. So okay, but I will text you. I will probably 90% sure still go over.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Nice seeing you,
All
Ron.
right. See you
Yeah,
guys.
good seeing everybody. It was
Bye
fun.
guys.
Bye.
Good day.
Okay. I guess we're going to.
Bye.